I guess that I don't know. I'm not even gonna worry about it. I will figure life out later. I have wow. Okay, I clear. People saying it's clear. Okay, it's not. If y'all clear, then I'm gonna go with it. Okay. Yeah, it's weird because and it was a trip tomorrow. I'm getting my connection upgraded. That's the weird part of all of this. I'm getting my connection upgraded by Verizon 100 megabits. So I don't know if they're doing something now already. Who knows? But it is what it is. So yeah, what I wanted to do here is some stuff up in here. I just wanted to do a question and answer and just answer some questions and just put some stuff out there. Yeah, I see there's some kind of delay. And just to help notaries out, what I'm gonna try in the chat is throw in a so that if somebody wants to join, they can, and see what we got popping off. So again, this is my first time using this yard stream and everything. See what happens. So I just put in the chat the link, and if it works the way I believe it works, I believe you can, and then it'll allow you to come in, so you'll be able to ask, questions and that. All right. Yeah. You let me know how to do so that you can help. LaShawn. Hey, what's going on? Michelle Stalwart, Chain, Sheila, 3 at Home Mom Boss. All right. So we got AJ Speller. All right, man, slide on up in here. I hope AJ's a man. Or guess AJ could be Ariana Jamin Speller. I don't know. Or Aaron Jones Speller. So we'll find out once he slides on up in here. So hold on one second. Let me a volume up so I can make sure I can hear you.
Yeah, I think so.
All right. All right.
Yeah, I think so.
All right. All right. What's going on, man?
Hey, how you doing, brother?
Doing good. All right. So what question?
Hey, how you doing, brother?
Doing good.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't have a question. I was just.
What question? All right. I'm getting a little feedback on your end. A little feedback on your end. So what you got, Mr. Speller? What's been going on?
Man, I've been doing pretty good. Just doing what you say as far as trying to grab everything I can get my hands on.
So now, where are you at with your signings? Because I know you was doing pretty good last I checked.
Yeah, I'm in the neighborhood of I've got about 87 signings so far, and I started in the beginning of end of April.
Okay. So now, what's some of them you adjusted or changed to help you in your business?
The biggest thing that I've done is just update my profile and make sure that I respond to everything, even if I'm not able to accept, even if I'm not able to do it I go ahead and give a reason as far as, that there's a conflict in my schedule. And I've went back, and the places that said I needed more experience, I made sure that I contacted those people back to let them know once I got in the neighborhood of 60 signings, I pretty much hit the threshold for for at least 3 different companies, and now they're
Right.
putting on.
Oh, okay. Now, now that's key, because one of the things, let me pin this to the top. One of the things that I learned early on is that each company has their own criteria for as what they consider their level of experience that they want.
Right.
So you have the no signing company. Let's just say you're working with the signing companies. I know a lot of people, they worried about being direct, but let's just say you're working with the signing companies. The signing company has a criteria of all you got to be alive and have a commission and know how to press the stamp up and down. So the signing company is like, hey, if you can do that, we'll use you.
Right.
But then the title company or escrow or settlement company that actually calls in company for a notary may say, well, you need to have 15, maybe 20 signings before our clients. So keep in mind, the signer has the client of the title, escrow, and settlement company, and the title settlement company, the lender as their client. So the settlement company says we need 20 signings. If they got 20 signings, we good. We'll work with them. But then the lender may say, nah, they need to have 45, 50.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So
Right.
if you, and one of the things, and I found this out working with CX Choice, because they had some stuff going on, and they was like, well, no, this lender requirements is this, and you don't meet it. So, I mean, this title companies, Old Republic, and I forgot what the requirement was. It was so long ago. And it was like, I guess I needed to have more signings under my belt, and I got those more signings. Old Republic wasn't going to have nothing too much to do with me. And they said, and there's nothing we can do. They said, well, you're doing a great job for us. Now, a lot of people say, well, man, that's messed up. And how do you know these requirements? One way you can find out about these requirements is just to go ahead on and ask the company, hey, do you have specific requirements before y'all assign a notary and order? Do you have a requirement? Do your clients have a requirement? And do your client's client have a requirement? And find out. And if they're open and honest, they'll tell you, and then you're like, okay, cool. But here's where it gets a little tricky. And this is what I've learned is that, let's say, ABC signing company has a requirement that, hey, we'll take anybody, we don't have a problem. And they happen to have 16 clients, and out of the 16, 4 of them, they just want a body. They don't have any minimum order requirement. They just want a body. So out of those 4, the problem is maybe only 1 actually does work in your area.
Right.
So if you only got 1 that'll take anybody that actually is working, that will work in your area, you're sort of limited on the orders that you can get until you get more experience. So the title companies and escrow companies, they themselves have to be doing business in your area. And if they're not doing business in your area, you're not going to get any work. Right. You see? So that's one of the things that you have to keep in mind. And then if the lender, if the lender says, no, you got to have this. So you have to take that into account when it comes to, let me see here. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, you have to take that in account when you're working with these companies. Now you say, well, I'll go direct. Well, who's to say a direct company won't have the same requirement?
Right.
They could have the same requirement. And the thing is, it's nothing wrong with that. The problem is that everybody thinks that going into this business, nobody has a requirement. The only requirement is that you're NNA certified. You took somebody's training course and you got a stamp and some printers and you're good to go. And it doesn't work that way.
Right.
And unfortunately, a lot of the trainers, the notary trainers, they don't talk about that. I'm sure they understand it, they know about it, but they don't always talk about it.
Right.
So if they're not communicating that, then guess what? You're never going to be thinking in that direction, and you're going to be like, why are they not picking me? What is wrong with them?
Right.
You know, and all of that. So then you start doing what? Spending more money for more training and more mentorship and more products and all of that, more conferences and everything. And now what happens? When you do finally start getting picked, you're not willing to take the 85, 90, or even $100 order. You're like, look, I done kicked out $2-3 grand. We need to make that money back.
Right. You in so deep that you trying to
Right.
get the home run on every signing, and that's just not, to me, that's not realistic.
Correct. And then you're getting mad at these companies like, well, see, they're not paying me what I'm worth, but it's like, okay, well, you ain't really done nothing. And it's
Right.
and I won't say, I mean, it's just the way it is. I know most people say, well, that's not fair. I get it, but that's part of the way it is. And then you have to learn to work around that for your betterment.
That's just business. That's
Right.
just business. When a new burger joint opens up, you got to run a special. That's just how it go to get some traction.
Correct. Now, Ada, Greg, you got anything?
No, they haven't come through yet to whether or not I don't know. I'm still waiting.
You waiting on what?
I'm waiting on them to tell me whether or not I got it. I got 3 of them, but like I said, I'm still waiting on them to say whether or not I got the signings.
Okay. When did you apply?
I accepted them. I've accepted 3 different ones, but I haven't gotten any information as to say that I do actually have the signings.
Okay. And because I was talking to you earlier about this, right?
That's right. You
Yeah.
sure were.
Well, if you haven't heard anything by now, you probably didn't get them, because that was with simple signings. And with simple signings, if you haven't heard anything after about maybe 20-30 minutes, sometimes it may take them an hour, then they haven't picked you. So when you're saying you accepted it, you're basically saying that I'm available. Okay?
Right.
Okay, so you're saying I'm available and that I'm willing to do it. But if with simple signings, if you haven't heard anything from them within 30, maybe 45 minutes, you didn't get it.
Okay. Well, it's been a couple of hours, as a matter of fact.
Right. Yeah. You have not. Yeah. You didn't get it, because if you got it, they would tell you once. And I'll be honest, simple signings, it has taken them an hour to contact me, and in a few cases longer, before I find out that, oh, I actually do have the order. They'll call me and say, hey, yeah, you remember this? Yeah, you accepted this order, or said you were able to do this order on such and such date. And I'm sitting there like, I actually forgot that I even did that. Okay, my bad. Okay. And then I have to go back and check, because, and again, this is why the calendar part is so critical. And then I got to check to see that, okay, if that thing came out at 2:00 and you contacted me here at 3:15, I might have accepted 2 or 3 other orders during that time, which conflicts with that time period that y'all have. So now I got to double check my calendar to make sure that I'm actually available.
Right.
You see, so in simple signing, they're good companies, nothing wrong with them, but that's just how they flow. That's their business model, at least in my area. Maybe not, excuse me, maybe not in yours. They may be able to get to you quicker, but in mine, it can take 20, 30, up to an hour before they call and say, hey, yeah, you still available for that? And that's how they ask you. They say, are you still available? And majority of the time I am.
Okay.
All right. Just like my video done cleared up. Okay, cool.
Yes,
all right. You got any other questions?
No, I'm just going to keep on waiting. I'll finally get one of these days. All
right. Now, if anybody else, cool. If anybody else got any questions, want to ask some questions, hop on here, and everything, and be more than happy to hear what you got to say. It doesn't matter, whatever questions you got. Now, we're not going to be bashing anybody, none of that kind of stuff. But if you got any questions that you want to ask, any good reports that you have that you want to share of success that you've had, feel free. And right now, LaShawn, I feel like you from when you did your live the other day when nobody had any questions to ask. So, so we got to, so I know people have been asking me to do this and wanted, to answer some questions. So I figured this would be the best way. And don't be shy about hopping on. For me, it's best that you hop on and ask the question rather than me trying to read the question out of the chat and all of that. And everything. So one of the things I know a lot of people are hey, babe. Oh, okay, we got Miss Angel. We got Miss Angel and the ceiling fan. There we go.
Hi.
What's going on, Angel?
I am fairly new to the business, and I got my first assignment, which is a loan application, which I'm grateful that it's a loan application because I know you say like loan applications are the best things to like get your feet wet. But I actually have the document here, but I did have some questions like, or do you have any pointers for me when I start or go to the point? Sorry.
No, you good. All right. So when it comes, loan applications are simple. One of the things that you should double check in your instructions is if they want you to give a copy to them. Normally they don't.
Right.
Okay. Normally they don't want you to give a copy to them. You want to find out, do they want you to do just a scan back or scan back and mail, deliver or just deliver, whichever one. If they want you to do scan back only, what you're going to do is just you scan it and then you're just going to hold on to the documents that the person signed for about 7 days. They typically want you to hold on to them for 7 days. If you don't hear anything from them after 7 days, then you shred it.
Okay.
Now, honestly, loan applications can be / should be very, very simple because the lender has talked to them and told them, hey, we need you to get this together, that together, and all of that. So when I call to confirm the appointment, I asked, I said, okay, they want you to, whatever they've asked you to provide, please have a copy of it.
Right.
So they're going to want driver's license, maybe social security cards, maybe DD 214 if it's a VA loan, copy of the note, copy of the CD, things of that nature, of the original, of the most recent one that they have. And you ask them, do they have the ability to get that? Sometimes they may ask them for utility bills. They may ask them, for stuff like that. And you find out whether they can provide that. So when you get there, there's nothing that you need to use your scan and, and all of that kind of stuff.
Right. Thank you.
And now the only problem that you could have is that the person did not get everything together. They didn't get everything together, which means now you got to wait for them to get everything together. And that could make the duration of your time there longer.
Right.
One of the other things that I've seen in a loan application is that there's a document that talks about the rate lock. So the lender tells the borrower your rate is locked, but there's a document that they're signing that says your rate is not locked. And when they see that, they start tripping because they're like, wait a minute, I thought the rate was locked. And what that basically is, it's locked, it's unlocked until they sign those papers. They're telling them, yes, your rate will be locked, but you need to sign these papers first. And once we get the papers in, then it's locked. But initially it's not locked. Now, what I do is, and what I'm sharing with you is what I've heard the lender say, because what I end up doing is getting the lender on the phone and saying, hey, John, Jane, you need to talk to them because they're concerned about, they don't feel that the rate is locked because of this document. And then they talk to them, and this is the information. What I'm sharing with you is what I've heard the lenders say to the new borrowers. And then once they talk to them, I think almost every time except for one, they was cool with it. One lady wasn't too cool with it still, and she signed it anyway, but she just wasn't happy because she was like, if you told me it's locked, I want to see that it's locked. I don't want to see that it's not. And that's not your concern. That's between them two. So I just said, okay, cool. And we got through it. And that one actually took me over an hour to get done because the wife was a little difficult, although she made some very, very nice peanut butter cookies. And I was throwing down on them things. I ain't gonna lie to you. By the time we got done, I was hungry. So I ate every peanut butter cookie she gave me. So the things were good. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Okay. And for the ink color, could be blue or black. Okay. And that's pretty much it.
Okay. Thank you so much.
No problem. And for Vanessa, yeah, it's a 7-day span of time for shredding the paper, the same for every company, or it could be up to each company. I've seen consistently 7 days. I've seen 7 days consistently. Always been 7 days. So hey, what's going on? All right. Now, if you said from Cali, I received notification today, but they needed a fidelity notary. What is that? Fidelity approval. That's typically, how to put it, BankServe. If I remember correctly, BankServe owns Fidelity. I believe Fidelity owns BankServe, and and you can Google, fidelity approval and all of that. And me and a guy down there, and I think his name was Austin. Me and him was talking about it. He's down there in Georgia, but fidelity approval is a thing that you have to have, and it's an individual company thing. Meaning, if you have ABC signing company, BankServe, and somebody else, you have to be fidelity approved via that company. You can't be BankServe fidelity approved, and then that BankServe fidelity approved is something that's used across the board with everybody. Now, if anybody got any other information that I may be incorrect on, please feel free to hop in and correct me. But from what I last checked, and I talked to an actual BankServe person, because I get orders from them from time to time, and I asked them to clarify that for me, and that's what they told me, that when it comes to BankServe, with fidelity approval, you need to actually be fidelity approved through the company that's sending you to work. And it's really, really, I don't want to say picky or sticky, but they're just really particular. So you cannot, and last I heard also, you're not supposed to be advertising that you're fidelity approved. So I know a lot of people put that on their business cards and stuff, but my understanding is that you're not supposed to be advertising that. But the fidelity approved notary is a particular type of criteria that you have to go through, and things have to be done right. And if you don't adhere to those requirements, it can really mess the loan up. So therefore you have to be fidelity approved and all of that. But Google it, and you'll find out the information you need to know about it. But once you get through BankServe, you're fidelity approved with them. All right. So any other questions? You got anything in here, LaShawn? Because I know you got some training coming up down there in Florida. I know if you want to talk to the people about that, let them know what you got going on down there. And where is it? Yeah, I'm always eating. Got my drink. New York Life is not sponsoring this. Okay. So this is just a cup that I had to keep my throat doing good. Now, one of the things I know a lot of notaries are concerned about is work. Young lady called me today I think she's out of New Jersey, and she was concerned about the hold on. I was at my computer today and received a notification while I was looking at it. Received a notification on my phone. Yeah, there's a latency. You'll receive a notification on one, and it can be a little bit late on the other. But there was a young lady I talked to today, and she was concerned about, and I talk about the profile. She was concerned about the fact that she's trying to get work, and she's done about 150 signings over like 6 months or so. So you're talking about maybe around 25 a month, and whether she could go full time with this. But she was concerned that there's not enough work to support that. And as I've always talked about, you got to decide whether you're going to be a per signing order notary, meaning you're making so much money for each order, or are you going to be a monthly notary, meaning you're trying to make a particular dollar amount for that month. And if you're trying to make a particular dollar amount for the month, then you're going to pretty much have to do as much as you can. You got to also, and she was trying to, work on going direct. And one of the things that she kept coming across is that the people who she was trying to go direct with didn't really want to hear, because she was giving them the same spiel, the same script that everybody else was giving them. And they're like, nah, we good. So at this point in time, for some of the notaries, you may not be able to go direct because, one, how you carry yourself, because not everybody is good at presenting themselves. And just because you have a script doesn't mean that you're going to be you're going to sound convincing. And they may already be full. They may be full with notaries, because one of the things, like one of the companies here, they got multiple teams, and one of the teams, they was telling me they do like 230 signings a month, and that was a lot for them. So let's just say you take a team and that title company does 230 signings a month. Well, if they have to split that 230 amongst 20, 30 different notaries that are trying to work directly with them, you're not going to get a whole lot from them a piece. And the most that I've heard somebody said that they work when it comes to direct clients is 3, maybe 5. So you're working 3 to 5 directs, and you got to balance when direct company A wants you at the same time direct company B wants you. There's, it's like, okay, and these direct clients are like, look, you came to us wanting us to work. So can you back out of those things? Maybe, maybe not. With the signing companies, you have a little more flexibility. So as I was sharing with her, I said, you got to decide what your goal is. If your goal is to get a certain dollar amount per month, then you got to get with companies that can give you, a dollar amount per signing. Then you got to get with companies that'll do that has the business, the workflow for you. Not saying that they don't, but you got to find out who they are. And then just in case they hit their max of being able to give you 12 signings in a month, and you still got the rest of the month to go, you got to get with other companies, and hopefully they have it also. So we're going to let LaShawn talk real quick. Go for it, lady.
Hey, Griff, how you doing? Hold on, let me it just threw me up here real fast. Okay. So I figured I help out because it's gonna be a whole lot of questions for the Q&A. And I know how overwhelmed I am when I try to do it by myself. But to answer your question, dang, you just moved it. Do you want me to answer the question that was just on the screen, or another one?
My bad.
Okay, so can you talk about creating a profile and best practices of information to include? So I did miss some of what you said, but as far as like the information to really put on your profiles, one, guys, we don't need to copy and paste what other people's profiles have, because some people don't really take the time to actually tap out a really thoughtful profile. So depending on what stage you're in, some people are new. Some people are experienced. If you have experience tied to the real estate industry, you put your experiences on there. But if you're brand spanking new, you're not going to have that experience. So one thing I always tell my students and what I teach is I teach people about skills. Basically your profile is just like a resume. I know plenty of y'all sell yourselves on here on a resume, tell a little white little fib, I guess I should say. But really you want to put skills on there. So I say like, organizational skills, attention to detail. That's a big thing here. In the notary world is make sure that you pay attention to detail. The biggest thing is also too, you want to make sure you hit some of the pain points that the client is actually looking for. So most of the signing companies and most of the title companies, to be honest, they're looking for people who are going to give them an error-free signing. Not only error-free signing, your goal is to make sure that the borrower is taken care of and that the transaction is complete. So that's some information that you could put inside of your profile. There's something else I was going to say about what you could put in there, because some of the things we're a little suspect I see in the profiles. Another thing too, you want to make sure you have a picture, a professional picture. For your profile. We don't need no selfies or anything like that. You want to represent and you want to look like the real estate industry. I always tell people the example of, if you think about the title company, whenever they hire someone new, right, they don't take their selfie and put it on the board as the list of people that work there. They actually pay to have those people to look uniform with everybody else. Mm-hmm. And that's how we should be. We need to be uniform. We need to look like them. So with that being said, everyone, please invest into a professional photo. You can just get one. You don't need a whole lot. You don't need nothing really too fancy. You can just pay for one photo, have someone do 3 or 4 photos for you and post it on there just from like up or down, not, it don't have to be a full body or anything like that. But that is what I recommend for your notary profiles. You know what? No, my bad, Griff. I can talk.
Go for it.
Another thing too is, so if you're bilingual, you want to put that on there. That's a really big thing. Some people don't necessarily put that on there, but that is something big that you can do. Is if you're bilingual, you want to make sure you put that on your profile. Complete sentences is a must. I know some of these things sound a little grade school, but to be honest, it's business. It's almost like back to basics, making sure you type full sentences, making sure it's clear and easy to read that people can understand. You can actually put down the areas that you service if you would like. So that way you can just copy and paste it amongst the other ones. But putting down those service areas are important also. What else? I think that's pretty much it. You just really have to make sure that it's filled out correctly. If more than anything, the first step is getting that profile filled out. And a lot of people don't necessarily do that part, is making sure that it's even filled out. But go ahead, Griff.
Yeah, well, one of the things, and like what Victor put in here, and good to see him floating in here. He said that some of the title companies are asking notaries to be exclusive. And that was the number one thing that I learned from Bill Soroka, because I didn't understand the whole concept of direct versus signing companies. And I was sitting in on one of his Zoom meetings. This is like almost 4 years ago. And somebody asked, well, what's the best route to go, direct or go with signing companies? And he said, the best route may be to be hybrid, have some direct clients and some signing companies. He said the reason why is because you're marketing yourself to the signing company and they expect you to be there for them because you're coming to them. So he said, if they're expecting you to be there, you got to be there. They don't take too kindly of you constantly telling them no. And I was like, got it. So if you're going to be exclusive, and if that your area supports that, then great. But if your area doesn't support that, then he said you may have to have some work with signing companies, or you may need to use the signing companies to build up your reputation and your experience so that you can be selected by them. Because with the title companies, I think they're more concerned about making sure that whatever notary is working for them, doesn't do something shady and crazy that can mess up their relationship with their customer. So now let's just look at that for a second. We all seen what Facebook notaries have been saying and how they've been behaving. So you put yourself in the shoe of a title company, and some of those notaries that you see on Facebook and the stuff that they've been saying, and just imagine one of them coming to you asking you to be direct. And that person got to saying, I want to come, and you know how you don't think that people can't see through your tomfoolery. Don't think that they don't have a good eye for foolishness and shysterness and all of that kind of stuff. And you want somebody like that with a client that's giving you, let's just say, $45,000 worth of business a year. And now you're going to have this notary come in there and act any old kind of way and mess that up. You know what I'm saying? So you, as the title company, that title company got to be, they got to take their clients serious, and they got to protect their investment with those clients, and just can't grab any notary. So they have requirements. So if they looking for you to be exclusive and you don't want to be exclusive, you want to just sort of float, then even if you're in an area that you could go direct, if you don't possess the mindset and behavior and activities that can support you being direct, like what they would want, then you need to leave them alone, and don't burn that bridge. And maybe down the line, after you've done about a couple of hundred or 1,000, maybe then when you feel like slowing down, you can work with them and be more exclusive. But if you right now is trying to be the rabbit and just trying to get paid, trying to run out there and be with these direct companies when you don't have what it takes to be direct with them. And keep in mind, a lot of people, this is their first time doing a business, so they don't even understand proper business etiquette, any of that. And y'all just trying to make money, and you're going in there with the wrong mindset, the wrong attitude. Let me see here.
Oh, Griff, can I answer some questions?
Yeah.
What's that? What are the best signing services you would recommend signing up with, and its location and is it location based? So to be honest, I never truly actually just recommend certain signing companies. And the only reason I say that because there's so many signing companies that you can sign up with. And, I don't teach my students to get into the mindset of relying on only these signing companies. Because there's so many of them. There's so many giving work out. So that's why I don't have particular ones. Now there are ones who I feel like that pay really well. Just to maybe name a few, I know Timios. They have treated me good. To be honest, they feed me a lot. And the only reason I say that is because not only did they feed me a lot, but they paid me. Timios paid twice. I want to say they pay out twice a month. So it was either the 1st or the 15th. They always had a check. Always had a check come in one of those 2 days. So that's why I like those signing companies. But as far as the best signing services too, what do you consider a best signing service? Like for me, what I consider a best signing service is someone who pays, at least within 45 days. I can wait 60 days if more than anything. I mean, no, I ain't trying to wait 60 days, but it is very important to make sure that signing company pays. I don't work with signing companies that I knew that always had the documents on and that sent the documents on a timely manner. If somebody takes too long to send documents, I'm not really too fond of working. I was never too fond of working with them. So I just dismiss them, to be honest. So that's why for me, it's hard to be like a whole bunch of specific ones. I see some students working for Rock and stuff like that, but it just really depends on what you consider the best. Miss Tanya Toledo.
Yeah, and I consider the companies. What I've seen is that it changes, because like when I first started, CX Choice back then, it was called Closing Exchange. they were sending me some of everything. I mean, I was just rolling with them. And then they had something go on with them, and then they changed their name. And the next thing I know, the orders changed, and then the amounts that they was paying changed. And so now I don't even really do that many with them, because there's these other companies that have popped up, and now they are actually paying pretty good. But what I've noticed, and me and Victor talked about this a couple of months back, is that once you hit around 100 signings, you start seeing different companies presenting themselves to you for orders. So if you get, that's one of the reasons why I talked to y'all about just taking some orders and getting it under your belt, so that you can say, hey, I'm at 50, I'm at 100. Because I mean, just keep in mind, if you have been doing this for 6-7 months, and all of a sudden they got to compare you to another notary, and you only got 10 and this other notary got 75, who would you pick? Who would you pick if you had a choice, and you got to get something done in the next hour and a half, and both notaries are within 10 minutes of the signer, and all you need is somebody who you think is reliable, and you got somebody who's been doing it for 6 months, another person for 6 months, but one only has 10 signings under their belt and the other one has 75. So who are you going to pick? Because if you say, well, I'm gonna pick me, no, you're not. Stop lying. You ain't gonna pick you if you only got 10 versus the person who got 75, because you don't do that within your own life. You know what I'm saying? You pick who has the best chance of getting it done correctly. And that's why, even just going back to the profile part a little bit, you need to understand that. And I'm gonna have to show y'all with SnapDocs. But one of the things that people don't understand is that you have to tell these people what work you're doing. So after you put your initial profile up there, now you need to let them know exactly what kind of work you're doing. And if they don't know that you're doing work, then they're never going to realize that you actually got more than just 5 signings. So let me show y'all something real quick. Where the heck is it?
Griff, I gotta share this to my page.
Yeah.
I gotta share this to the page. You know, someone asked a question too about the signing companies being state specific. To be honest, so some of the signing companies are only issue assignments within our state. Some are nationwide. Some are statewide within the state. But to be honest, like, as far as different signing companies receive different volumes of work in different locations. So sometimes, like with this business, it is hard to be specific about, you know, what signing company you should sign up for in your state. You know, that's why I do the practice of teaching people, like, honestly, signing up for as many signing companies as you can, because you never know when that signing company, you don't know what they're doing. They might be working a deal in with a title company or something in your state, to where, so they may not receive a lot of work at the moment, but eventually they will. So that's why it's really hard to really get state specific on who's receiving, like who's sending out assignments where on certain states. You know, I just wanted to clarify that, because I think that was at the end of the question.
Yeah.
Which pull up, Griff.
All right. So this here is my my profile on SnapDocs. And one of the things you see over here, it says SnapDocs signings completed 480. But what I put in SnapDocs, I got over 1,100 that I've done. So if I got over 1,100 that I've done, you're saying, well, where's the rest? SnapDocs only push over here what you did that came through them. If it didn't come through them, they don't list that. So if I did not say in my profile the number of what I've done, and I'm saying that of these 1,100 signings, 480 of them come from SnapDocs, you're a title company, you're a signing company, and you got to find somebody. if they said, well, you know, we need somebody experienced, and then they look and say, well, Griff been doing this going into his 4th year and only done 400, but then they see somebody else with more, they may pick them over me, but then they're like, but I actually got darn near 1,200 of these signings. How do they know? They don't know unless you tell them. And then if you're on signing order or signature closes where they don't do a counter like SnapDoc does, you have to tell them. You have, and then on signingagent.com, the NNA database, you have to tell them that you're doing this. And notaries don't like to take the time out to tell. I mean, like I always talk about in my profile, I got a list of all, not all, but a lot of the different companies that I've done signings for, just so they will know. Because let's just say Eagle BPO. Eagle BPO, there's a scheduler there that likes me. And all of a sudden, that person from Eagle BPO goes over to Progressive Notary Network. And now they're working at Progressive Notary Network. If I got a good relationship with them, there's a chance that they could pull me over there. And they can say, well, yeah, I know this notary, and they can pick me up. So that's why it's important for you to do things the correct way. It's important for you to make sure that whenever you are with these companies, you're doing stuff right. Because guess what? If in your 10 to 20 to 50 stage part of doing signings, if let's just say you got 15 signings in, and there's a company that needs a notary, but you falling short of their requirements, so they want 25, but you're at 15. If you've been doing a great job, if you've been doing the stuff that they said that you need to do, scan backs, shipping the documents on time, arriving on time, good customer service, that signing company can vouch for you and say, hey, look, we know LaShawn. LaShawn is straight. We're telling you, you can go ahead on and, you know, you can go ahead on and have LaShawn do this order. We know that she's going to do it right because we've seen her for the last 15 signings haven't messed up anything. But if you're like these Facebook notaries, constantly fighting back, constantly trying to run up the price because, well, you want to scan back, you're going to have to pay me money. And then they're in a desperate situation. They're not going to pick you. Why would they pick you? Why would they? Because you haven't shown them that they can rely on you and trust you. And then let's just say you do that good of a job. I've heard lenders say, yeah, we know we can rely on Griff. When Griff has the order, we know we ain't got to worry about it. When LaShawn or Victor or TXB for you, or anything, we know they got it. So if you have a lender that believes in you and that knows that the work that you do is not jacked up, when they have an order in your area, they'd be like, hey, we need this. Get that person because we know we can rely on them to do what's right. Let me see here.
And another thing too, you know, on SnapDocs. So I had a different experience, Griff, than you. To be honest, I never put assignments in there. The only assignments that they count is the ones that they receive, but I receive a lot of notifications and requests. And to be honest, a lot of it just have to do with the companies that I work for that's on there. They gave me really great positive feedback. Like on every signing company that I work for on SnapDocs, literally I am the preferred notary signing agent. I was the preferred notary signing agent. So with that being said, is that before the notifications go out to SnapDocs, I would either receive a phone call, text message, or email asking me, am I available? If I'm not available, I'm just not available. And then I see the notification go out. I see the notification go out to everybody. So for me, it's all about when you are working on SnapDocs with signing companies, the biggest thing is that making sure that you are going above and beyond on the SnapDocs platforms with the signing company. That way you can receive a good rating, because we can't necessarily see the notes and stuff that they write about us, but the other companies can see that. So that is the biggest thing on SnapDocs. If you're going to be on there, is making sure that you're getting a good rating.
Right.
Honest.
Now, I put this question up because this was a topic that I wanted to deal with. I've had two people contact me in the last about 4 months apart. And they've taken notary training from other people, not even the normal people that we are familiar with out here on the internet. One person, I don't know the site, but it's not none of the big people that we normally see. And then one lady, she took training from somebody within her state. They both was telling her that she didn't need to be NNA, get an NNA certification. But when they tried to go and get SnapDocs, one of them tried to get SnapDocs verified. SnapDocs was like, and she called me saying, well, why won't SnapDocs verify me? I said, well, do you have this? Do you have that? Are you NNA certified? Oh, I don't need to be NNA certified because this training that I took told me I didn't have to be. And they also told me that, the NNA is overhyped and they need to be disbanded because they're just a bunch of crooks and they just stealing everybody's money. So when she told me that 4 or 5 months ago, I was like, okay. I said, well, all I know is you're not going to get in there unless you got the NNA certification, because that's the one they're asking for. Fast forward to about 3 or 4 days ago, another lady told me that's what her trainer told her, but it was like a state sanctioned training. And I was like, okay. So there's people out there that's telling notaries on one side of them out of their mouth saying you don't need to be NNA certified and you don't need to have nothing from the NNA. But then they're saying at the same time, if you plan on getting on some of these platforms to get work, then you do need to be NNA certified. So I'm like, okay, well, which one is it? Because you can't sit here and talk bad and say that NNA is no good, you don't need them, but then they're not getting any work because the platforms that they need to get on requires NNA. And I said also, even if you don't go through the platforms, what if the local companies that you go direct with say we want NNA certification? So if they want that, then what are you going to do? Because if you're going by what your trainer said, NNA is overhyped, NNA needs to be disbanded and kicked out, what are you going to do? So this question here is saying that the NNA exam is not required in Texas. And since you're in Texas, young lady, talk to me about that.
I was going to answer the question. I was ready. So I understand, there's like a line in the sand with that. So what it is that here in the state of Texas, we don't have a state mandated training.
Right.
And what it boils down to, people look at it like, okay, so why should I take the NNA training? Because it's not Texas, we don't require training. Now, this is what I tell people, and I tell a lot of my students. I say start off with the NNA training, especially if you're brand new, because to be honest, you have no clientele, you have zero clientele. Now, I believe in starting off with the training. Take the NNA's essential training, get the NNA background check, start working with the signing companies and develop relationships with the signing companies, because here, well, and also other locations, when you have a company that you're working with, after a while, to be honest, only thing they're going to want to check to make sure is that you are doing your year every 2 years or yearly background check, depending on the company. That's all they want. But the thing is, in order to be on SnapDocs, specifically, you have to be SnapDocs. In order to be SnapDocs verified, you have to have the NNA certification. So that's where the NNA certification comes into play. And then some of the platforms like give you an advantage, I guess, if you are NNA certified. Not all of them, but I could see why people say it. But to be honest, if you are brand new, like you have no experience in this, I say get NNA certified, so that way you can start getting notifications and start working with these companies, so that way you can become on their preferred list and they will send you notifications, to be honest. But the NNA is not like a required thing, because to be honest, you can get around it, because there's people who actually issue out loan signings, and to be honest, they just want you to have your notary commission and know what you're doing in the transaction, at the end of the day. But if you are a brand new signing agent, I don't see what is the problem and not using the NNA. I feel like it's a great resource when you're brand new. They have a hotline. They have notary acknowledgments and certificate rats up there that you can use. It's a really great resource, to be honest, especially if you're brand new and you need some help. You know, you're not always gonna be able just to call somebody. Even me as a trainer, you know, I'm not available 24/7. I'm available, but not 24/7. But you know, I always recommend the NNA, especially when you're first starting off. I recommend the NNA. I don't see what the problem is with the NNA at the beginning. Like, I really don't. Now, when people gain more experience, I'll see that, you know, they don't need to be NNA certified because they have their clientele already. They have places where they're getting assignments. The title company is working with them. So the NNA thing is not a big thing to them. But if you're brand new, I don't see what's the problem in just taking it. I don't see the problem in just refreshing, because the NNA has been updating the information on there. It gives you the code of conduct. It's always, to me, I look at it like this. It's a foundation that you can fall back on just in case you have a question, or if you're not understanding something, you have somewhere to go to fall back on. Because say, I'm not sure who told you that, to be honest with you, but let's say if you had a question about something, could you call your trainer at 10 o'clock at night and get an immediate answer? Or is there somewhere, a resource where you can actually receive the right answer? So that's what I recommend. I recommend the NNA, especially at the beginning. I don't see no problem, and I recommend the membership. I don't see an issue with that. I recommend it.
Yeah, and see, what I've looked at is on both ends of the spectrum, they're still training. These people who are saying leave the NNA alone are saying come to me for training. But they're not. And I'm like, okay, you're saying leave the NNA alone, but you want the person coming in on the training. And this is why I've consistently said, everybody, this is your business, and you are required as a business owner to challenge anybody who tells you that you shouldn't do something that should be helping you to make money. And too many people are not doing that. Y'all are just listening to people and they say, you ain't got to do this. NNA is this bad. Signing companies that bad. Direct is that bad. Don't do this with your profile. Don't take an order unless it's this amount. And you're just rolling with it. And here's the thing that I've consistently seen. The people who have listened to that information have, one, not challenged the person who said it and verify whether or not it's so. And two, if they listen to it, they end up not making any money. They end up getting frustrated and they're just sitting there and they wind up spending more money unjustifiably. And then when they finally do get orders and they get that first $80 order, well, no, I ain't doing that because it's been 4 or 5 months. They're going to have to, And that's why I say all the time, you're sitting here saying you want somebody to pay you $150 for an hour or so of your time, but you can't even get $85 out of your own company per hour. You can't make your company pay you $85 in a field that you are an expert in, that you are educated in, that you are trained in. But you're going to go into the notary field and have no experience, nothing that you've accomplished, and then you're going to sit here and demand a whole day's salary just because I showed up and I got a stamp and I got a printer and I overpaid for everything that I had to do to get in this business. So therefore you need to pay me back. And I'm not going to go to the person who I overpaid and get my money back from them. So I'm going to extract it from you. They extracted money from me. I'm extract money from you. And that, in my opinion, is what I'm seeing that is happening. And notaries are trying to get this money back that they overspent. That's why, like LaShawn, I trust her. So if you want some training, business training, all of that, hit her up. She's straightforward. She's going to tell you what you need to know, all of that. No ifs, ands, or buts. She's straight. She's 100% straight.
Process. And it was something else I wanted to say. So I wanted to touch on the NNA, but earlier I seen a question about like oversaturation, the whole oversaturation thing. But the first thing too about the internet, why I recommend the membership is, to be honest, they provide updates. So they provide law updates for you. And I feel like it's just a resource. It's just a great resource just to have. That's it. You don't have to be all on the internet and comment. You don't have to do too much. Just have a foundation where you can go back to, because the thing is, the internet, they do the law updates for you. They send it directly to your email. And not only that, with the hotline, they give state specific information. So it doesn't matter about help auntie, uncle. It doesn't matter about, where they're located at, because they're going to research your laws for you when you call in the hotline. So that is what that's why I recommend the NNA, because to be honest, it's hard to find a person who's always just going to be available to you at your beck and call in a way. Yeah, like Sydney said. Oh, I'm sorry, Miss Wendy City Transplant. Yeah, it's always going to be there. And then, actually, I got one more thing too. After like I say, because Mr. Is that Rashida?
Yeah, I saw
First
that.
of all, we're not doing no 50 cent signings here. All right, nobody is leaving their house for 50 cents. We ain't desperate like that. I don't. If a signing company won't even let you do that, like I hope they don't. But he said he hasn't received any type of assignment. So, whenever I have people who say that they're not receiving assignments, I always ask them, have you signed up? So have you signed up for signing companies, but not only signing companies, what databases are you on? There's a difference between the databases, directories, and the signing companies. And I teach people about signing up for all three of them, because they all work together as one. So you have to sign up for signing companies, but you also have to be on some of the databases. So like SnapDocs, Notary Cafe, 123 Notary is different. That's considered a directory. You have to be signed up on all those platforms in order for this to work. Now, cool. You said you signed up for all of them. Now, is your profile correct? Not only your profile, a lot of times your contact information correct. Are you receiving any emails?
Are you using a Google Voice number? Because I know sometimes people have problems with that.
Well, the thing is, even with Google Voice, I use Google Voice. I love Google Voice, but I set up my Google Voice. My Google Voice is set up. So I'm gonna get into you, Rashida. So because I think right now I don't know if you're confused, but you said all 300 of them. When you speaking of 300 of them, are you talking about signing companies? If that's what you're asking. Another thing too, sometimes you have to call the signing companies when you receive the notification. So that's another thing that you can do. Okay, no Google Voice. So you might be missing calls. It might be something on your end where they're not able to communicate with you. But with Google Voice, you have to make sure you go in there and edit your settings. So you have to make sure that you forward those calls to your actual cell phone. When you use Google Voice, I love Google Voice because one, it's tied to my Google business page and it tracks all my analytics for me. So I know what's working. I know what's not working. I know certain things that I can do on my Google page to get more calls, to get more clicks. So that's why I use the Google Voice number for the business specifically. Or the calls may not be coming through. I don't know, but I know I have Verizon. And I actually have a filter set up to where, so to be honest, I don't receive a lot of calls unless you're my contact information. I will not receive your phone call, but I will receive. And I can see the notification, but the call won't necessarily go through. Rashida, we probably will have to take a look at your stuff to see what you have going on over there, because to be honest, it's something that is stopping you from not receiving assignments. And then another thing too, I'm not sure how long you've been doing this. It does take time. To be honest, it could take 3 to 4 months, maybe 6, in order to get your assignment. Let me see. I'm on Notary Cafe too.
Now, one question, what about, now I've heard people saying that they've been, from day one, they're constantly countering. Every order that comes in, they're constantly countering the order. So if you're countering every single order, they offer 85, 90 or 100, and you're like, well, no, I want more. Is that an issue? Are you doing that? Because if you're doing that, and there's a young lady here, I think she's doing better now, but she went through about 6 months, and she told me from day one, she just did what they said in Facebook and counted every single order and did not get a single order at all. So you have to be mindful of that. I mean, if everybody is out between 8 and 4 o'clock trying to do these orders, and they send an order out for $95, and you're like, I need 110, 125. You know, why would I pay more when I really didn't need to and everything? This is Miss Rashida.
How you doing?
Hello. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Thank you. So yes, I am getting notification, but I am not getting the end signing.
Okay, where are you receiving notifications on? Is it through email, SnapDocs? Like, how are you receiving? Like,
I'm
who's
getting
sending
notifications through SnapDocs, through notary order, through all text messages. I haven't gotten any emails.
Okay. So when you just hit accept
every other day. Go ahead.
So when you see the assignment, so first of all, do you reply late, or as soon as you receive the text message, do you reply right then and there?
Boom. I'm clicking.
Okay, so another thing that you can do, and kind of what I'm real proactive, you know what I'm saying? Proactive / aggressive, low key. But one thing that I do is so especially specifically with SnapDocs is that I will always hit that I'm available. And then after I hit that I'm available, then I turn around and I hit the back button and I go to the bottom and I look at the scheduler number. Normally they offer a number there, or you can find the signing company. And I actually call the company, and this is what I say. I say, hey, how you doing? My name is LaShawn Jenkins. I just received a notification that you have an assignment available. I tell them the area, the time, and I would just like to know, I would love to be assigned to that assignment. If you have not assigned it to someone already, I would love to be assigned. You know, like I'm real proactive, because the thing is, what I didn't like about the business was, let's say I would say I'm available, right? They sent the message at 2 o'clock for assigning at 6, and I said I was available. Well, I want to know within the next hour if I'm assigned or not, because if not, I could take something else. So that's why I started being like real proactive, because sometimes if you don't do that, they'll try to assign you at the last minute, you know, type of thing. So I used to get an answer right then and there on the phone. So that way I know right then and there if I had the assignment or not. So that is maybe one thing that you could probably do. You're located in Florida?
Yes.
Rashida?
So this here is her so this is you, right, Rashida? This your profile, correct?
Yes, that is me.
Okay, so LaShawn, based on your experience looking at that from a signing company, what in there is telling you? Yeah.
Now I'm young. I'm like, I got eyes like yours. Okay, so I got to pull this up on my screen. I had to pull this up on my screen. I seen her SnapDocs profile. I don't her SnapDocs profile. So I set eDocs. Okay, your profile pictures are different on your SnapDocs, and this one right here.
Yes.
Okay. I'm an NNA certified notary servant. I'm an NNA certified title agent that serves Palm Beach, Broward, Miami-Dade counties. I would love to complete your next signings. Oh, okay. Your next signing in my coverage area. So maybe on there, what you can really add on your profile is saying how you actually help the signing companies. Besides, to me, I'm gonna be honest, it just seemed like you just trying to make some money. And we all try to make some money at the end of the day, but we got to put on, the show, and not really the show, but really actually just really be there to help people. And it says, yeah, I would love to complete your next signing in my coverage area, but maybe you can put something in there. You know, I strive to have an error-free signing. I strive to make sure that my closings are accurate and complete before leaving, you know, stuff like along those lines. Like, you really want to be passionate about what you're doing. That's something that you can add in there. So let's see, Rashida at Trinity Notes. So are you using Gmail? What are you using as your email client?
Trinity Notary Services .com.
Okay, but do
She
you have
a
like an
website.
app? She has a website?
Yeah, it looks like she actually
No,
has
I don't. No, that's a domain name.
the domain
But I
name.
don't have a website.
So you must be going through GoDaddy.
Yes.
I figured that. Yeah. A lot of people, because y'all know I'm a web guy, so a lot of people will go through GoDaddy, get the website, get the domain name, but don't build a website. Now, that's to me a big no-no, because what a person will do is they'll sit there and they'll want to see, okay, well, let's check her out. And then they go and they say, okay, well, let's go to the website to see, and this is all they see. So you need to actually build a website. You know, a lot of people like, oh, well, I just got the domain name, you know. Okay. And then let's just say a lot of people there. You don't realize that some of these companies on the weekends and when things are slow, they go through and they say, okay, well, let me see what notaries are in this area. Oh, okay. Well, you have a website. No, you really don't. Okay. So you didn't finish it. See, to some people, this can communicate, okay, you don't finish stuff. You started, but you didn't finish. Even if you just put one page up. I mean, that's all I have on my site. All I have on mine is one page. I just got one page that says some stuff up there. I'll be honest, some of the stuff might be misspelled and I got to go back in there and fix that. But I have something up there, which so yeah, my stuff is all, I haven't ran my updates. That's right. I forgot I am running updates in the background. My bad. I'm running updates in the background. I forgot. But I have something up there. So when it's reacting, when the updates are done, you have something. And that's one of the things you don't want this. You don't want them to see that, because there are people out there that will say, okay, well, let me see what other services she provides. And they don't see that. They're like, okay, well, she must don't finish anything. And that's why one of the things that I was discussing in that video that I have called Your Profile Will Separate You from Them. It talks about different things you can put in your profile, like, you know, you don't double side print, you don't email documents to the signer, you don't leave the signer with the documents and run somewhere else and come back, you notarize in front of the signer. Those things are stuff that is happening out there that these signing companies don't like. And they don't want to see those things happening with their customer. So yes, you're saying the same thing that those bad notaries are doing, saying those notaries out there are doing stuff that's not good. And you're saying the same thing, that I'm glad to do your signing, I'm glad to do this, I'm glad to do that. But you sound just like them. So if I'm running a signing company and I've had 25, 30 notaries that have messed up my signings, and they all have the same spiel or similar verbiage in their profile like you have in yours, what's to make me look at you different? There's nothing. Now, again, you going into this, you don't know that there's these notaries and that they're doing this. That's why I did the video about it. Some people didn't like that video, but it's a true thing. I mean, that is what's going on out there. Let me see if I can.
And another thing, Rashida, so you say you're on Notary Cafe?
Yes, Sam.
Is your profile hidden? Because I don't see it at all on here. And I typed it in different ways. I put your name in the search box and you're not coming up. So you might want to check on your notary profile on Notary Cafe that is public. Make sure it's public, because that's another thing that's could be affecting you. And like Griff said, you do need your website. And you say you was on 123 Notary, right?
123 Notary, yes. I'm on 123 Notary.
Okay, let me see, because I don't see you on here either. Because you're in Boca, Baca. I don't know how to say it.
Boca Raton. Come on now.
Okay.
See, you can tell Rashida. You can tell Shane from Florida, like me and you, messing our city.
Oh, I'm from up north, sir. I'm from up north, sir.
Okay.
Everybody know how to say Boca Raton. Come on now.
We don't know that term up north. We don't do that. We don't know that.
You better figure that out before you get down there a couple of weeks from now.
I'll be there next week.
But as you see here, Rashida, if you go on my profile tab, on my community tab, I have this here talking about different statements that you can put in your profile that talk about basically to separate you. Right. So if you how you want to craft it in there is up to you. But if you say, basically I arrive at appointments on time and will contact the signer if I'm running late. I do not double side print. I provide the signers with a copy. A lot of notaries are not doing that. They're not providing the signers with a copy. It will scan back as requested. If they request that you scan back, you're going to do it. We'll drop documents for next day delivery for all closings finished by 4:00. I will not rush or pressure the signers or provide legal advice. I will notarize at the signing. Will notarize only if I witness the signer signing the documents. Even though some states like Virginia, we don't have to see them sign the documents. They just have to verify to us that they did sign it. But companies still want you to be there present when they sign the documents, and you have to be there to do the oath and all of that. So these are different little things that you don't see in new notaries' profiles. And I will say, and if anybody is out there who has added this stuff in there and has seen an increase in their business, please feel free to click the link. It's at the top of the chat and hop in and share your story. But several people have called me and told me that they've made those little minor changes like that, and it has opened up the door for them, and they started getting more notifications, because you're basically putting yourself, you're holding yourself accountable to say, I'm going to do this thing and I'm going to do it right. Okay. I believe in this business that much that I'm going to do it right.
I'm definitely going to change some things up after I get off of here.
Yeah. And that's
I'm
really
check on that Notary Cafe. Did you see me on 123?
No, I was about to tell you that you probably need to call or figure out what's going on, because you are not showing up on I don't see you nowhere. I don't see you on 123, and nor do I see you on Notary Cafe. So, I don't know why you're not showing up. When
I go in there, I do see my profile.
So on Notary Cafe, I know with Notary Cafe specifically, I do know that on Notary Cafe that you have to make sure you have your profile public and be able to be found on search engines. I do know that. So I don't know if you have it hidden to where as though only signing.
They do have a statement there, and then they ask you if you want to see it, and I did click yes. So I'll check.
Okay, well, you're more than welcome to email. If you have a link, you can email it and I can look at it, but you're not showing up. And I'm only saying that as an example. Like, you got to think some signing companies literally get online and look for notaries. So if you're not even being found, it's something that is, I don't know why your stuff is not showing on Notary Cafe, but it don't show at all. But on 123 Notary, I don't see you on there at all either.
Okay.
And I typed the zip code in, and I went through the list, and I typed your name in, and I didn't see it. So you might want to call 123 and see what's going on. All right. So you say you signed up for signing companies, right? Though.
Yes, I've signed up for plenty of companies.
Okay. And when you sign up for them, do you send?
The only person that I've been getting notification from is SnapDocs and signing order.
Okay. Okay, so
Those are the only two
about general
companies.
notary work, are you only doing loan signings? Is that what I mean? Like, is your business going to be diverse?
General notary work. I've been doing that, but it's like word of mouth. Like somebody that know that I do refer me, or stuff like that. So of course that is very slow.
No, it could be fast, man. You gotta get your website. You gotta get the website. You need a website. That's where the website comes into play. That's where the website literally really helps you with general notary work. Like that is what help you.
Well, yes, I was planning to do the website, but I was trying to get some money back in. I've gotten $0.
But you can get work faster.
Nothing.
You can get work faster with general notary. You can get money faster with general notary work than loan signings. I'm just gonna be honest with you. Like, you really can, because even if you don't like have money to get your own website, you can literally create a My Google Business account, use their free website until you build up the income, the cash flow, I should say, because I ain't gonna say income because I know we have something going on, until we start building up the cash flow. You can use the free resources, leverage those free resources so you can bring clients in. So list yourself on mygoogle.business.com or google.com/mybusiness. I believe that's what it is. List your business on there. When you list your business, they will send you a postcard for you to verify your business on there. And then after you verify your business, you'll actually show up. So that's what I recommend. That's what I recommend for you to do. So that way you can start bringing in some income. You see it?
No, this is mine, just showing so people can see how you're listed, because one of the things I noticed, now I tried getting on, tried to get on here, and when I first started, and I don't know why I didn't, but after I hit about 800 signings, I got on here, and it seemed like the company started, picking me more. So I paid the $99 to be on here, and within 2 days, I made that money back because somebody picked me off of here to do a signing for them and paid me $250. So I made my money back. But I've also made a lot of money, and I believe it's coming from this site. Sorry about that, because like you said, it's a directory, and I've been getting orders from one of the local hospital. They said, yeah, you're on a list of notaries that are 24/7. So I get calls. I think I've been getting at least 1 or 2 calls a month this whole year from people at the Virginia Beach General Hospital needing general notary work, power of attorneys, advance directives, wills done for their loved one that's sick at the hospital. And they say, yeah, they got you listed as 24/7. And I said, okay, it must be coming off of here. So by being listed here, it opened the door up for me, to get other business. Also reach out to some of these law firms. I work with a lawyer, and it's weird how me and her connected. I got connected with her through by me and the wife. We had to file bankruptcy. So we had to file bankruptcy. Then several years later, I wound up doing her loan closing, which was last year during the pandemic. And while I was sitting there, I knew I recognized her, of course, but I wasn't sure if she recognized me. She did. She started talking to me about notary stuff and asked me, could I do other notary work for her? And I said, sure. So now what she's been doing, because her office is closed and they're working remote, she sends her wealth management people to me who are doing wills, power of attorneys, all kinds of estate planning stuff, because they no longer can come into the office to get things notarized. So she gets the paperwork done up. They either mail it or email it to them. They print it out, or sometimes I may print it out, and then I meet them and I get the work done. And Sunday I did one. my wife and youngest son came to be witnesses. They made $25 a pop. I made $25 on the job, because I normally charge a $20 travel fee and then just $5 per stamp. And it was only one stamp required. Got in there, was in and out, and everything was great. So like LaShawn said, that general notary work can open up doors of opportunity for you. And even at a signing, I've had many people at signing say, hey, can you notarize this? Yeah, I can do that for you. While I'm at the signing, I say, as soon as we finish this, they're like, thank you. And I've heard notaries say, I ain't doing that, because they have this stigma about doing general notary work. And I've heard notaries say, no, if they ask me, can I do it? I tell them I can't do nothing but no, I'm only authorized to do loan closings. And that is just a bold-faced lie, because getting down to the truth of the matter, when you get commissioned by your state, you are commissioned to notarize important documents for the residents of that state or anybody who's in that state. So when yes, you can refuse to do it, but you can't. To me, I don't think it's right for you to lie and say you're only authorized to do only loan closings because you think that's just where the bigger pot of money is. Every dollar counts. I did a signing today. I think I made about $28 on that. And it was just one signature.
Yeah.
And all I was charging them was $5. And that same lady, she gets me a lot of business because she works at a FedEx and she always refers people out to me. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna give you the family discount, just $5. Next thing I know, she gave me some cash in hand, and then her husband, he was like, let me see your phone. He scanned my Cash App, his Cash App me another 20. So when you do good work and you take care of people, that's what happens. And also keep in mind, once you become a notary, if somebody wants you to notarize their loan documents, they can just call you up. And I've had people do that. Call me, they say, yeah, I heard you're a notary. Can you notarize these documents? Because my title company sent them, and I'm selling my dad's house or my mom's house or whatever. Can you notarize these documents? They're not going through a signing company. They're not worried about whether you took somebody's fancy training. Are you a notary? Yes, I am. Can you notarize these documents? Yes, I can. That's why I emphasize so much. You got to know how to properly notarize, and then you can concern yourself about growing your business so that when you get out there, you're not messing stuff up. It doesn't make sense to try to push and grow a business and you don't know how to properly notarize, and then they blacklist you and say, you know what, we can't mess with Rashida because none of her documents can get executed properly because she don't know how to fill out the notarization forms. And that's what you don't want at all. You see?
No.
And Griff, people are asking about fees. Can I say something about that?
Yeah, go for it. All right, Rashida, we're gonna let you go, lady, but thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate you bringing me on. I appreciate you going over my profile. I will make change to it tonight. Thank you guys so much for your time. Thank you for what you do. I am speaking for everybody that's logged on here. We appreciate you guys.
No problem at all, lady. Anytime.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. So I know I seen the question on here about how much to charge for general notary work. I'm a fan of general notary work personally because I feel as though I was one of those ignorant people where I was like, I'm only going to focus on loan closings because that's where, that's how it was presented, $150 per loan closing, that's all I knew. And it's funny because I would receive calls and I used to tell them like, oh, you got to go to the bank, because I don't do that. I used to tell people that all the time. Until then, one time, I had the situation where somebody was at the hospital and they really needed a notary. And then I came out there and then I'm like, okay, you can make money doing general notary work. But the biggest thing is people always want to know like what to charge. So I can't tell you what to charge. But there's factors that there's different factors that determine the general notary work fee. And a lot of that factors, to be honest, is just based upon you. One, your location, your value, how much you really want to charge, and how much your state allows you to charge for notarial acts and also for the process. So I sent in the comments. So there's I don't know off the top of my head. Might be 2 or 3 states, or maybe 2 states where they actually do regulate the fee on what you can charge for general notary work. And someone in the notary zone, she's in North Carolina, and North Carolina is pretty strict about general notary work services. It's strict. It's cut and dry. It tells them straight up. It says you cannot charge no more than $5 or $3 for in the notarial for a notarial act or anything according to that notarial stamp. So that means like any extra fees, you can't charge travel fee or anything like that in the state of North Carolina, but they can still do loan closing. So it's still good for them. So the thing is on how you can get around that is see what your state says about you being able to charge a travel fee. And that's where people actually make the money. Like here in the state of Texas is clearly stated on the Secretary of State website. It says that we cannot charge no more than $6 per notarial act. That's exactly what it says. And I'm pretty sure it's the same thing in Virginia, no more than $5 per notarial act. But also on the Secretary of State website, it does say that notaries are allowed to charge when they are providing a mobile service. So meaning that we can charge for the service. We can charge for traveling to them to notarize a document. That's what we can do. The biggest thing with general notary work is that you really have to be careful on how you do your receipts and what you're charging for. You have to show, for example, let's say here in Texas, it's $6 per notarial act. Well, let's say you told the client $50. Let's say, well, I'm charging you $50 to go out to come to your location, right? You charge them $15, and then when you send $50, but say you send the receipt and it just says $50, right? A person can actually take that invoice and report you to the Secretary of State because they could say that you charge them $50 for the notarization because you didn't itemize your invoice. So that is the biggest thing. If you're charging for general notary work is one, knowing what you can charge and also itemizing your invoices or your receipts that you send to the client, showing that, I only charge you $6 per notarial act. Or whatever your state fee. Florida is $10. So you have to show that. And if you charge a separate fee, people make all kinds of fees, travel fees, admin fees, I don't know. But whatever fee it is, you have to show that it's separated from the notarial act fee. Another thing too is, before y'all start making up all these fees and stuff like that, you want to check with your state that you're in to see if you're allowed to charge those fees. Some states regulate certain things which you can actually charge people. To be honest, I know some states are even strict about you charging, you telling a client that if they have to pay for a card, that they have to pay for that transaction fee. Some states have regulations on that. So whatever it is that you charge, you want to make sure that you are actually able to charge those fees. I only stick to 2, stick to travel fee and the notarial act fees, and that's the only fees I stick to. No admin charge, no extra stuff. Because with the travel fee, everything is included in with that. That's the time me coming, the traveling, the miles, all of that, everything. So I could say I put everything into that travel fee. Let's see. Waves apps is a good invoicing system as well. I need to look at that app because I necessarily don't. So Ms. L said you don't charge after hours fee. If you want to charge. If you want to charge an after hours fee, that would be something that I would include this in the travel fee. I wouldn't put after hours fee, to be honest with you, because to me, it just makes it really complicated for the audience. For the customer, to be honest, I just put everything together except for the notarial act fee. Yeah.
And what I have up here on the screen is from the Virginia handbook, what it talks about for allowable fees. So it says, by law, a notary is not required to charge a fee. So we don't have to charge a fee in Virginia. However, they may charge up to $5 for each notarial act performed. So you can charge 1 cent or $5 or $0. The only other payment a notary may request is actual travel expense if the notary is required to travel away from home or office to perform the notarial act. So, and I've heard of notaries charging the customer for driving to them. You don't supposed to be doing that. In this case, the notary and client must agree to the payment to be made. So as long as everybody agrees that this is what's going to happen, meaning you can't travel to the hospital and then because you had to park way out, as they say in South, in the back parking lot, and then walk, and then they're on the other side of the hospital, or they got construction and it took you 20 minutes to get to them, or well, now I got to charge you another $40 because of how difficult it was for me to physically get here once I got here. You can't do that. You got to, it has to be agreed upon. So you have to understand that if you're saying, okay, my travel fee is 20, and typically I go $20 flat fee for my local area that's like, you know, really close by. If I have to go over across the bridge into what they call the Hampton area, Peninsula, all of that, yeah, it's going to be a little bit more. But I let them know that. If I have a good relationship with the client, I'll be honest, sometimes I'll just go, and because I got a good relationship, I'll just charge them the fee just to get the notarizations done. But they still may tip me. They still may turn around and tip me anyway. So it all depends on the relationship you have. There's some people, I mean, like one time I was asked to do a notarization. The guy had a wrecked car and he needed to sign this one document and get it notarized in order for the people to fix it. He was ready to pay. I said, man, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's just $5. Just go ahead on, man. And he was so happy because he was already stressed out. So you have to make sure that you understand what your state law allows. That is very, very important. And that's why I keep focusing on that and telling notaries, you got to read your state handbook. And I know there's a lot of notaries that have not even looked at their state handbook, haven't even cracked it open. I keep a copy in my bag because you will have somebody, let's say a lawyer you may be closing for, a title person, or somebody who thinks they're the greatest notary in the world, and they'll tell you stuff and they ain't looked at the daggone notary handbook in 25 years, and they'll be like, well, you can do this and you can do that, and you need to be able to pull that handbook out and show them, no, I cannot. Or I didn't know you could do that. Yes, I can, because it says this here. This is why it's important for you to have the legal side of your business straight. And many notaries are sitting here and they don't have it straight, which means if you don't understand what your laws are, you'll end up doing something because somebody told you and they come across very confident and then just mess you all up. And the next thing you know, you're the one getting in trouble. And again, going back to what LaShawn said earlier, this is why doing some of the training through the NNA, dealing with their resources, being able to communicate with them. If somebody pulls you on the carpet, you can say, well, no, I checked with the governing body, the NNA, to guide me and to tell me whether or not what I'm doing is wrong and to help me understand my state law. So if you listen to these other trainers and you don't have anything to do with the NNA outside of just spending $70 for your background check and a test, and they say, okay, well, you made this mistake. And in my opinion, if I was a good lawyer and I found out that there was a course that you could have took that would have answered your question that you messed up on that cost my client hundreds of thousands of dollars, oh, I'm going in on you. I'm going deep in on you because you failed to take your craft serious. And here's the kicker. When I talked to the state here in Virginia, they told me Virginia is a self-certifying state, which means it is up to you as a Virginia notary to ensure, and they say really as a business owner in Virginia, to ensure that you are following state laws and guidelines. They said, we're not going to tell you, we're not going to teach you, but you better make sure you follow them. We'll provide you the handbooks and other information that you can print and download and all of that. And it's up to you to make sure you understand what's going on. And if you don't, they told me, get a lawyer. So it is up to me in Virginia to make sure I understand this. Therefore, that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, and it's something else too. I kind of wanted to say too. So because I always go by what's on black and white, on when pull that back up, Griff.
Oh, okay, my bad.
I need that back up because what that says is it's black and white, and it's clear on what you can charge. So like, okay, it says right there, it says the only other payment a notary may request is actual travel expenses. So there's a difference between, what makes up your travel expenses is the different factors. So it's factors that is what makes up the notary fee. So all the information about the traveling, how far you travel, late night hours, whatever the case may be, if you want to charge holiday, whatever, that is something that you can package together in with the travel expenses. Because you really do have to be careful with how you itemize that receipt and what you're charging people for. To be honest. So I know because someone said I seen like a few things on here, print fee, holiday fee, after hour fee. And I mean, those are things that you can disclose to your client, but like stuff like that, I would just put it in with the travel expenses. And the only reason I would do that is because it says on here, a notary the only other payment a notary may request is actual travel expenses. So in my mind, if somebody was trying to take it to court, I'm not no attorney, but I'm comparing black and white. If someone has after hour fees, print fees, all these other fees on there, but on here it says that really you can only charge actual travel expenses. Mm-hmm. And when you go back to the IRS.gov website, it actually says on there, there's different factors that you can include to increase the travel fees. So that is something that can help everyone with charging for services. But you really do just have to be careful, honestly, with how you charge people and what you charge them with, because the state does regulate a lot of things that we just don't know about. Especially for some states, it's strict about you charging that client. Well, you telling that client that if they pay for debit card, that they have to pay your transaction fees. Like you really do have to be careful with that. Because to be honest, you can run into someone who's like, you know what, I'm going to challenge that. I think that's unfair that they're charging me to use a debit card, and they're telling me that I have to pay. But it's one thing if you can just include it, like, your expenses as a business owner, that it's $3 or something to use a credit card or debit card. And that's just something that you just include inside the travel expense, right. And that's how a lot of businesses do their things. So that way, it seems the client may feel like they're not taking on the expense, but they are. Right.
Yeah. And that is very, very key. And let me scroll up and show y'all something else. This is very important also. This is talking about stamps and seals. And this is something that I've been hearing from a lot of notaries they're not doing. Like in Virginia, it says what? It says, the Virginia notary seal stamp must contain the notary name exactly as it appears on the notary commissions. And a lot of people, my name is Senosha, Antoinette Johnson. But then on the notary stamp, they got C.A. Johnson. And I've heard notaries say, yeah, my notary stamp is this because that's how I sign. That is, no, you got to sign. If you filed it as Senosha Antoinette Johnson to get your notary commission, that's what needs to be on that notary stamp. And that is how you need to sign your document. Now, I know some people get away with the way they sign by making some kind of little funky line. And I've seen people do these little, I'm like, okay, that is not a signature. Come on. I mean, take some pride in it. I mean, just this look like a daggone EKG, heartbeat thing.
They don't teach cursive no more. They don't teach cursive no more, Griff. Come on, like
look. When I'm doing split sign, I look you up on signingagent.com and see who the heck you are. And I see most of these people I'm doing split signings for, they my age or a little bit younger. I'm like, you learn how to write in cursive and you sitting up here drawing a daggone EKG symbol. Nah, you need to cut that out and spell your name right so people know who the heck you are. That's just a personal thing. And also to back up, I'm not an attorney because I mentioned something about law. So I am not an attorney. Don't play one on TV or in any other time in my life. But I'm just saying, if I was an attorney, which I'm not, most attorneys, if you pay attention, they find loopholes, and you as a business owner got to find a way to keep those loopholes closed and everything. But what I'm saying is the handbook will tell you what you need to do. It lets you know, and so many notaries are out here winging it. And I'm like, you gotta do stuff right, everything. So if you're unwilling to do this stuff right, that's why I keep saying, then you don't need to be in this business, at all. So I'm not trying, when it comes to general notary work, I'm just trying to make a connection with the people. I'm not trying to get rich off of general notary work, but that general notary work money is nice. It's good money where it's like, okay, I want to have some. I mean, when you just want, I'm old school. I like to have cash in my pockets. So so general notary work is one way to have some cash. And that's why I love the Cash App and the PayPal. I'm like, okay, cool. And I have some cash, the Venmo, all of that. So people say, well, what forms of payment do you take? Anything that my customer need in order to pay me.
Oh, you nice, Griff. I'm not nice. We not doing it. We taking the payment method. We're taking the payment method that I say, and I want to tell you why. I won't give you my reasoning. Why. Just hear me out, because, all right, so, this Cash App thing is cool. You know what I'm saying? It's convenient, easy, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But I look at things as, how do some of these apps actually protect the business owner? I personally just love Square. And the only reason I love Square is because, one, I could send, so with all general notary work, there's a deposit required, just even go out, matter of fact, to even make the appointment, there's a deposit, and the deposit is just based on, the amount, and, the amount that I quoted them. It's no set amount, but there's always going to be a deposit. And with Square, I can actually, while I'm on the phone talking to them, they text me their email address, I can send them an invoice right then and there, and I can itemize that invoice. And then when I arrive, I tell them I only take cash in person. Now, there is situations where I will take, I'll take a check from like a 65 and up. I don't take no 20-year-old checks or anything like that. But if somebody's like a lot older, I will take a check. And I only do that because I feel like for me, Square protects the business owner. I don't know how Cash App really protects a business owner, because I know how easy it is for a person to go in there and request a refund. Same thing with PayPal. It's like you got to go through a dispute and all. I'm not trying to go through all that, for a service that I did provide. So that's why for me, always was cash. And I would tell them that ahead of time, prior. And I will only take a debit card if it sounded like they was in dire need, but they need to get cash. That's just how I ran it. Or I wasn't that, I'm not they need the service, to be honest. I never had no problems though. Like, I never had nobody hang up the phone, was like, you don't take credit or debit, and they hung up. They was like, okay, I'll get cash, so that's just kind of what I did. I'm real particular about the methods. So she put Cash App.
I like I prefer not Cash, Square. I prefer Square. I like Square. I had to do Venmo one time because it was a guy, rush job. He was in California. He was getting a divorce, and he was finally able to get his ex to sign the divorce papers. And he was like, I need somebody to get in front of her before she changed her mind. And he said, all I got is Venmo. So I ran over to the FedEx, got him. I mean, I wasn't even charging him that much, and he paid me a buttload more. And that's how I wound up getting on Venmo. I had no desire to get on Venmo, which Venmo is on PayPal and Cash App is owned by Square. So, you know, the cool part about this business is that you tailor it to what the people in your area can do and how you want it. So it's no cookie cutter way of running this business, because when I do my general notary work, yes, I have these other ways that I can receive payment, but I prefer one particular method. I prefer Square. And I have my little portable chip reader. I have that. As soon as I get a general call, I connect it and I get there, especially when I'm at the hospital. They plug it in, boom, boom, boom. You want me to email you or text you a receipt? Bam, and it's done. And I like Square better. Plus, like, you know, it just keeps better track of your money.
You can build your email list. You can build your email list. Like, honestly, I can give probably 100 reasons why I don't think the business owner should be using Cash App. Even though Cash App does have the business side of it, I don't think that needs to be the primary method of payment. That needs to be the last resort. If somebody really don't have any money, like that's all they have. Yes, you know, but personally, I just, you know, I'm not a fan of the Cash App, because with Square, you can collect email addresses, and those email addresses you can remarket to, put them in your CRM, or put them into MailChimp or whatever you're using to market, and you can send out monthly newsletters to your community of clients that you work with. Like, I probably have over 300 emails just from general notary work in Square. You know, so you can't collect no email addresses on Cash App, can you? Unless you ask the person to send it to you. And then too, you got to make sure you type out the invoice in Cash App versus Square, and or apps that are dedicated for invoicing. You can say, like in Square, you can set it up. I had things pre-saved, so it's nothing to create an invoice. $6 per notarial act on there, and then put the travel fee in there. I don't have to worry about manually typing everything. So that is why I recommend making sure that you're using an invoicing system, so that way you can invoice them, like, to be honest. And even if you do take Cash App, you know, the biggest thing is you still would need to make sure that you send that client an invoice. Also too, I like Square too, because there's situations where companies, title companies, or whomever will call me directly and they want to pay me right then and there. I'm not going to send a title company my Cash App. I can send them an invoice right through Square, and they can pay that invoice through Square. So that, like, honestly, that's why I'd recommend. It don't necessarily have to be Square. It could be, I know someone said PayPal. I personally don't really like PayPal too much sometimes, because you have to have them for a while, but I do have them. Let me see. It's something else you can use. I keep seeing this Wave app, but I haven't used it. I know self-employed QuickBooks, they have a way that you could take payments. So I always believe in this, setting up the business for 100% success, like, to where so you can receive payment from anybody, and I don't have to worry about opening all these apps, and I'm tracking all my money in one location. And that's why I like to have an app where it tracks everything in one location, and it's a little bit difficult with the other things, but that's it. That's all I got.
All right. Well, and to Shanosa, yes, you can send an invoice in Square, even if they pay cash. Yes, for my direct clients, I use Square because it keeps track of all of it. Now, let me tell y'all something that again, I talked about this. The reason why a lot of people couldn't get that PPP loan, because they didn't have their business set up right. One, they didn't have the business entity set up right. Whether, you know, as a sole proprietor or LLC. Secondly, they didn't have a bank account. They didn't have a business bank account. With Cash App and Venmo and all that, you don't necessarily need a business bank account to receive money. It doesn't care. PayPal business you do, and Cash App in Square you do. So a lot of businesses circumvented that. Now check this out. Let me show you the power of Square. My wife, from day one, because I shared with her to use Square, been using Square for her cosmetology school for the last 4 years. Guess where she got her PPP money from? Square, because they solved the money coming in every time she got any pay from anybody, from anything. She put it in Square, whether it was cash, whether it was through card, check. She put it in Square, and Square saw, okay, you got money coming in. Guess what? Square also said, hey, we see you got money coming in. We want to offer you a loan for $650. I mean, that's not a whole lot, but the point is, when you do transactions through Square, they track that and they see that you have credit. You know, they see that you're bringing in money. Then they'll be like, okay, cool. So in other words, you could literally be like, okay, if you're and technically what I could do, and I just don't have the time to do it. Every month that I do my business, I could literally record it in Square. I could record it in Square. So if I'm pulling in $5-6 grand a month, I can record all of that in Square, and Square will then offer me a line of credit. Square will offer you a business line of credit if they see you got the revenue coming in. But if you don't have anywhere showing you got revenue coming in, it's hard to build business credit. And that's what one of the people are asking, like, how do you build business credit? Well, in order to build business credit, you got to be doing business, which goes back to the number one thing that I keep saying is you cannot be sitting on the sideline, not doing any kind of work. I get it. You don't want to drive 3 hours. I'm not saying you have to drive 3 hours for $60, but if you can make some money, like today, there was an order that I was trying to get on purpose. It was 3 pages. The signers had the paperwork, and it was for $35. I was trying to get that so bad. I wanted to do it just to see what it would be like, because I hadn't planned on doing anything today, and I didn't do anything. But I saw that come through, and I missed it. But I was like, man, oh yeah, I'm gonna do that. $35. I was going in that direction anyway, and I didn't have to get the paperwork, and they had it. 3 pages. I was trying to hop on that. But what made me feel good was that when I finally did click on it, they said it's been filled, which means there was a notary out here that took advantage of that opportunity. And that made me feel good that they did. But like you're asking here, one of the viewers, she texted me the question, setting up an LLC, giving you work from home. How did you work around the need to provide a physical address? For me, now I know a lot of women, they're concerned about, Jerome and the other dude, finding out that you own a business and come, rolling up, knocking on your door. So maybe LaShawn could talk about that. I put my address up there. I'm like, this is where I'm at, because I do know that they send you documents from time to time. So and a lot of times they don't want it going to a PO box. And I know, when they're doing split signings, or they may have a sign that say, hey, we got the documents, we're going to be shipping them to you. So they don't want them sitting in a UPS, facility. They want them coming to your house or to some address. So I don't know how you can get around that, because I never thought about that. But I hear a lot of young ladies asking that, and they're all saying, they're just concerned for security purposes. So I don't know what y'all was doing before you became a notary, that you got somebody looking for you. But
well, I can understand. I can understand, because there is some cuckoos, on the internet. I know, like, for me, like, there's people, sometimes in the comments, people be a little too much, like some of the audience, they be a little, stalkerish, have stalkerish behavior. But for me personally, like, if somebody rolled up on my house, like, you really don't want to do all that anyway. So I'm not, like, too concerned about you showing up over here, to be honest with you. But one way you could do it, so even when you're choosing a virtual business address, like, you have to be careful with that. Because I know here in the state of Texas, like, they really are, they are strict about, you have to have an address that you can go in and actually pick up mail. That's not a PO box. So you do have to be careful with the virtual address. So there's virtual addresses where you can actually go and actually get into, you can actually use those, like, you can go into the addresses. They're virtual. Well, I want to say they're really virtual, but they're like virtual addresses, but you can actually go into a location and get your mail. That is the biggest thing. But what they want is somewhere where you can physically go and get your mail. To be honest, I really don't care. Like, you can show up here all you want. You know what I'm saying? I love to call the police. Like, that's what I do. To be honest, not only call the police, but there's other measures that can be taken. Also, for people who like to show up at places they don't have no business being in. So I'm not really too concerned about the whole location thing. Like, to be honest, because as a business owner, I realized like I really do have to have a lot of my information out there. And even like, your notary information is public. And I know that is it Virginia that pushed it to where so they're gonna start hiding a notary public addresses, I believe.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
I think in October or it passed or something, but I did read they did pass a law, I think it might be Virginia, but they are working it where they can have the address hidden to where where our addresses are hidden. I mean, to be honest, guys, I'm just gonna be honest. If you own a home, people gonna find you. Like it's not really I don't want to say that, but I mean it's the truth. Like if you own a home, people can find you. Like it's nothing to find where someone lives at.
Signingagent.com. They can look you up on signingagent.com. Your NNA. Remember, you put your NNA, your address on the NNA profile thing, and they ping you right there.
Right. As long as if you have a first, last name and people have an idea where you live at, anybody can find you. Just making sure that you have things in place on your end to where so if someone do show up at your door, you can handle it. Either you can call the police or take things in your own hands, according to the law. But I mean, your address is going to be out there. And I kind of want to speak on a little bit about the business credit, but that's not, I don't really do too much into it. But even like for the PEP loans, like she said, do you have to have a DUNS number? Is it necessary? If you are looking to establish business credit, yes.
Yeah.
It's a free number, so I don't see why not. Why not? Hold on. No, get the other ones. I don't see why not. Why not get one? It was another question on here. Someone had asked about something about the business credit. Let me see. Oh no, she just asked the question twice.
Now here's one for you.
Oh, me? How do you go about doing cash outs and HELOCs in Texas? So anyone
I did
here?
a video on that.
Yeah. Oh, I comment on there. I was on there.
Thank you.
I did comment on there. So here in Texas, in order to do any cash out or HELOCs, also known as home equity line of credits, you have to do those particular closings in an attorney office or a title company or a lender office. Now, normally, if it's going to be the lender's office, it's going to be the lender who's actually issuing out the HELOC or the cash out. So for example, like you'll see situations where like I know Chase Bank do a lot of HELOCs where those particular closings, if you get a HELOC from Chase Bank or Bank of America, they will already provide you with the space. Like they will just tell you to show up at the bank. And then the bank employees will give you a private area depending on what level the client's on. Because Chase has like a downstairs low key for their upper echelon clients, I guess. But that is how the lender situation works. But in order to actually get a place where you could find is, I always tell people to target like some of the lower hanging fruits. So with that being said, it's like, I'm not saying don't go to Daniel Stark. I know people in here in Texas know Daniel Stark. He's a big injury lawyer. That's like a big franchise. There's a lot of different people in there. And, to be honest, the space, and not even just the space, a lot of people, do they really want somebody else that they really don't know in their space, just conducting business that they really have no idea about, like what's going on? So I always tell people to target some of the private attorneys who just have an office space where it's just them. They might have a secretary and that's it, but they have extra rooms, because there are smaller attorneys who actually will lease out their room to notaries. So that is one way how you can really get in with the HELOCs and the cash outs. I I see some people get through the title companies through the signing company. So I see, I think Miss Jackie actually really told me about it, but she told me about if you're Fidelity approved, you can use the Fidelity title companies in order to do those closings. But to be honest, it really is about building relationships with the title company or the signing company. And don't be surprised when title companies tell you no, because a lot of times they just don't want that risk. They don't know. They only want their closings being done in that office, and they don't want the client to think that they're tied to something and they're not. So that is an example of like what you can do that with the HELOCs in Texas. What part are you in, Paulina? Suggestions for a bank account, business bank account. We were just having that whole discussion on Clubhouse about the business bank accounts, but the business bank accounts, now I'll be honest with you. I'll look at a couple factors. Now, when you're choosing a business bank account, one, you want to make sure to see some business bank accounts require you to have a certain amount of money in those accounts. That's one thing I look at. Another thing I look at is if they charge me fees for my transactions, how much they charge for me to deposit checks or receive ACHs. Because now my business structure is a lot different than what it was a few years ago. So I receive a lot of ACH payments now. So I had to find a bank that didn't charge me a fee every time I put money into my bank account. So the biggest thing I'm looking for is fees and how much I'm required to have into that account. That is what I'm looking for when I'm choosing a business bank account. Me personally, I actually use Texel, and I use Texel because that was the only bank that wasn't going to charge me fees, because I'm receiving fees. I'm receiving payments every other day or every day. So I needed something that I can actually receive payments and they not charge me a fee for that, because I'm already paying fees to the platform. So I don't want to pay a fee to have my money deposited. And someone asked too about business building business credit. So this is what I'm about to say, girl. This is why it's important for us to get these bank accounts. Okay, guys, we need these bank accounts, because the bank account, the same way Square was offering PP loans based off of your transactions, the banks were also doing that too. So if you're using Chase Bank and all your transactions go through Chase, they were able to pull your bank records and offer you the PP loan or a business loan or a grant or whatever the case may be. So that's why it's important for all of us to make sure that we have some type of invoicing system or a bank where it's tracking our transactions. So that way we can qualify for certain things without necessarily feeling like we have to go and I'm trying to figure out how to put it, but we do need the business bank account so that way they can qualify us automatically, so that you don't have to go out and you don't have to go out and apply for the PP loan. They'll send you the message and they'll pull your information for you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, no, yeah, I can. Yeah, you're absolutely correct. I don't know why so many people who want to start a business don't want to get a business bank account. Yes, there's some work. You're supposed to separate the business money from the personal, and it's just a matter of just taking the cash from the business and putting it into the personal and keeping track of it. It's really that simple. I don't know why people want to try to find these. If you're going to do a shortcut, make sure it's a legal shortcut. It's just that simple. It's really that simple. And stop listening to people saying, oh, yeah, you can do this. Make them verified. Make them prove what they're telling you. It's that simple. And especially since it's a lot of women who are in this business, the information, the way I look at it, judge it this way. If the information and the source that you're listening to this information from, if your husband showed up at 7:30 at night coming home from work and brought that same person with that same information and had them sitting in your living room and started saying that stuff, would you just accept it coming out of that person's mouth and your husband don't even know this person? And 100% of the women that I've ever asked that always told me no. So your husband brings some dude, some lady that you don't know, that he don't know, and says in your house, ... And you're like, Fred, Jamal, we need to have a talk. Earl, come on in here in the kitchen. We need to talk. And while you at it, go and take my bat in there because I'm going to be using that on you because you bringing somebody up in my house, talking some smack. I don't even know who this is. But yet we're listening to people on the internet. And I know you're listening to me and LaShawn, but the difference is me and her are willing to prove what we saying back, what we saying up. And you got people out there who aren't even trying to back up what they're saying. They're just making statements. And then you're buying into this stuff and you're afraid to challenge them on it because you don't want to believe that they're lying to you because they look just right. They smell just right. If you can smell them through the internet, they got the pretty hair. They got the pretty clothes. They just come across so pristine. Why would they lie? Why wouldn't they lie? Why wouldn't they misdirect you? Why wouldn't they? And it's the same question that you got to ask if your husband or for the fellas, your wife brought somebody home that they found in the Walmart or at the gas station saying, hey, you can make money selling water filters. You can make money selling baby cribs. And you like, baby, you don't get that person out my house. So you would say, wait a minute, we need to verify this. We need to check this out before we go sign it. Well, no, you can sell this and you can do this. Because I used to be in network marketing. And a lot of the stuff that I'm seeing going on with the notary stuff right now is very reminiscent of Amway, Shackley, Prime America. A lot of those tactics and the way that they're pumping stuff, all of these different little special conferences, all of this stuff is very reminiscent of network marketing. And I believe a lot of people who were in network marketing back in the day are now done hopped into this notary game and they're using them same tactics and techniques and people are falling for those things.
I agree.
And you have to be careful and you are responsible because at the end of the day, if you get taken and you do something wrong, it's still on you. You see what I'm saying? So, and I'm saying all that to say, when you start talking about should I set up an LLC? And I hear a lot of people say, well, you don't need to start an LLC until you start making $100,000 a year. Okay, let's say that's so. My thing is this. If you're not even taking signings, you're not even going to never get to anywhere near $100,000. So first of all, you're not taking any signings. You're making every excuse in the book why you can't take signings. First of all, you're scared. First of all, you feel unconfident. First of all, you don't know how to notarize. So once we get through all of that, then you're saying, I can't take signings because this ain't worth my time. I need more money, ... So you're still not, and now you're 6-7 months in, and you're talking about, I'm gonna get an LLC once I make $100,000. You ain't even made $100, okay? You ain't even made 10, 20. You haven't even averaged, a weekly thing of 6 signings a week or anything. Now, the LLC provides you protection against your assets. In my opinion, if you're going to try to bootstrap this and not follow guidelines of state laws and all that, then you probably do need to have an LLC so that when you get in trouble and somebody starts suing your behind, you will have your personal assets protected from a lawsuit. It's that simple. A LLC is to protect your personal assets. Now, granted, like somebody was in my chat going back and forth with me about it. You find out from your state what level of protection a LLC provides in that state, but it provides some form of protection for you. The same thing I feel if you don't get the right amount of insurance, because if you're out here and you don't know how to properly notarize, you don't understand what you're supposed to be saying and not saying, because you didn't take any NNA training. You didn't do any of that. You listen to all these other people and they said, forget the NNA. You don't need to do that stuff. And then you get out there running your mouth and causing somebody to either not sign or to sign something that they didn't want to sign. And they say, well, you just cost us $85,000 on this deal, but you only got $25,000 in E&O insurance. Who going to pay the difference between the 25 and the 85? You. So to me, if you're running a business, you get enough life insurance, you get enough health insurance, you get enough car insurance, you get enough homeowners insurance that if something really bad happened, the insurance can cover the full amount and you don't have to come out of your pocket for anything. So why wouldn't you do that for a notary business that is dealing with hundreds and thousands and millions of dollars of people's money, but yet you want only $25,000 of insurance? That doesn't make sense to me. You see, so yes, I have the BIBERT, but see, one of the things I also did was I went and got the business owner's policy, which covers other things like data breaches and all of that. So if something happens to my computer, it's covered. And because I rent a car for my business, there's also rental car coverage for me using a rental car for my business, because I found out sometimes your regular insurance company may not cover certain things with your car. If you're using it for a business, you need to check with your insurance company, because if you're conducting business, and as I was told, I think Ty in Vegas was telling me, said that she was told by her insurance company, if you have your business sticker on your car and you get in an accident, they may or may not cover it because you was using that car in a business setting rather than for personal use. So I said, well, since I'm using a rental car, let me see what I can find out. And I happened to stumble across that, and I have protection. So it was an additional $500, but for me, it was worth it to protect me, because, and this is also to the men. If you know you're the main breadwinner in your family and you're trying to make this business the thing for you, you don't want to be in a situation where you innocently make a mistake and then you get sued and you don't lose, and you lose everything. And they come after you, they come after your wife, they take her red bottom shoes, they take the binky from the baby, they take everything. And they sitting up here suing you, and you sitting here watching across the street while they auction everything out of your house so you can pay them people back. And then find out you still $50-some thousand short, and now they selling your house.
That ain't your wife no more.
Mm-hmm. So you got to take this stuff serious, people. You can't be going out here just acting all wild and crazy and all of that stuff. So you gotta do this stuff right. I call it signing agencies. So this is why I do what I do. Yeah. Now, my take, the bank account thing, like LaShawn said, no fees. You want to make sure there's no minimum, because if you have a minimum, like you need to have $500 or $600 or whatever, and you're just starting, really. And I had to have a business. I had to have a minimum of $500, and boy, they told me up in fees because I could never keep $500 in there, because just starting, I needed every dime to buy equipment or to rent equipment and all of that. So I learned a valuable lesson. If you can get you a business account that has no minimum dollar amount that you have to have and no fees, whether you use an internet one or a local one.
I don't recommend the internet ones though. I ain't recommending those either, because I'm telling you, with the when they was offering that grant money and the PP loans, some of the lenders was not like, they'll send money to the prepaid banks and they'll send them back because they didn't accept that bank. So even if you have an online bank, I say at least make sure that you have an actual location that you can go into and put your money in that account. So that way you can qualify for certain things and make sure that you don't have your deposits returned, like some Bank of America, Chase. I think Bank of America doesn't require a deposit, but I do know that they have a monthly fee. And most banks now, they do have a monthly fee in order to have their account, to have an account. But I always recommend people get a bank or a credit union, somewhere where they can walk into and deposit money or something, at least something. I recommend an account. And
with Navy Federal, one of the things I've been finding out with Navy Federal, my friend Erica, she could probably tell you about that. Erica, I did her closing for her, and me and her, she was one of the first people that I was training on being a notary couple of years ago, and she's been doing great, and she just went full time with it. But you know, Navy Federal has started declining the e-checks that you get through Deluxe. So Navy Federal is real funky. Matter of fact, because we had to file bankruptcy a couple years ago, Navy Federal, even though I already had a business account with them for my IT consulting, Navy Federal would not let me open up another business account because they said I had alerts and issues with my account because of the bankruptcy. So I had to go to another bank, which I found that going to a local bank, a non Bank of America, Wells Fargo, places like that, but a small local bank, you could probably get a better deal and you can build a relationship. So even with the bank that I'm dealing with now, the bank manager there, she's already said, well, yeah, you know what, Griff, I've been seeing how you've been bringing in this money. I might have to get with you when I retire in a couple of years and maybe do this notary myself. And everything.
The small banks are good because my teller, she did the same thing. You actually on Texas, you can't even open a business bank account online. Like I had to go inside and provide her my paperwork. And even when I call in for certain things, like I have to go to a different department. And also sometimes I have to wait. Like if I have questions or something, I have to wait or I have to come in, one or the two. Someone has said, so another thing too. So I heard about Chase now. I mean, not Chase, Navy Federal turning away a lot of people. But to be honest, that don't make Navy Federal a bad bank, to be honest, because they're not taking e-checks. But another thing people could do is create an account on that website with the email address that you use, that you're receiving the checks from. Because you can, depending on some of the signing companies, I guess, depend on their settings, you can actually connect your bank account to the website, or you can connect a debit card to where, so when you get paid, you can actually just pay a fee to have it sent to that debit card or that bank account, either or. But another woman on the Clubhouse today told us what she did was that so let's say the signing company send the checks through eDeluxe or Deluxe, whatever you want to call it. What she did was she sent the statement that Navy Federal had put out to everybody. She sent a copy of that letter to the signing company and asked them to issue her another check because her bank does not accept that check. So that's one thing that some people can do if you're struggling. Because to be honest, I'm not a fan of trying to keep opening accounts and having money here, there. You know what I'm saying? To me, it's just too stressful. And I'm just going to say why it's stressful. Because when tax time come and you really are trying to find your money and lining up with everything, I'm just going to be honest with you, it's difficult when you got accounts here, and then you got to match all that up and making sure, it's just too stressful. Like my head is just hurting, like just low key, like thinking about it. But I do know that, we do want to try to keep things as simple as possible, and we don't want to have to open too many accounts and have money, just all over the place. Oh, that's Priscilla. She said, uline.com to set up business credit.
Yeah, that's one of the companies you can do. Now, I tried to set something. A lot of people talk about Quill. I didn't mess with Quill too much because the prices that they was charging was too high for me. Bottom line, they were just too high for me. They were just too high for me. So I have an account with Uline, and with something like Uline, you order from them, you order about $50 to $100 from them for about 3 to 6 months in a row and pay it off on time each month. They report that, and that's where that Dun and Bradstreet number comes in. They reported that Griffin Notary Services has been ordering from them and paying them off. So you find something on there and you just buy it. Now, not that Uline is cheap. Uline is not cheap, but you order stuff from them that you can use in your home. Like my yellow jacket that I use when I'm on for my house inspections. I got that from Uline. Yellow is insulated, all of that. So when it's raining and the bad weather, I pull that out. I have a little cart that I use for pulling stuff back and forth. I got that from Uline. So I spend about 6 months just buying stuff every month from Uline. When we had the bad storms here, I bought those little called Instadam, the little bags that the water hits them and it soaks it up to create a barrier to keep the water from coming in your house. Stuff like that I bought, and just to establish business credit with them. So that's one company that you can do that with. But I would say you do most definitely need to look at making sure your business entity is set up correctly, making sure you have the proper insurance to protect yourself and your assets, have the right business bank account with a reputable bank. I know a lot of people want to use them internet banks. I mean, and now I know they've been popping up and then they've been disappearing, popping up and then disappearing, because they changed regulations. So if they start changing regulations to restrict what they can do, then the bank sees, okay, well, there's no need for us to be in business anymore because we can't pay these regulatory fees and stuff in order to do business in that state. So they might be okay in Kansas, but they can't operate in Virginia because Virginia says you got to have certain protections in place to make sure that our residents don't get taken advantage of. And then they say, you know what, we're either pulling out of that state or we just going to go defunct altogether, and everything. So that's what you got. In other words, the bottom line of what me and LaShawn is saying is that you got to do stuff right. If you're unwilling to do stuff right, that's why I started saying, and I know people might think I'm being mean, but you don't need to be in this business. You don't need to be in any business if you're not going to do it right. So everybody's like, well, all these new notaries, this, that, and the other. Well, why not have a bunch of new notaries? Because there's a good percentage of y'all who aren't going to do this stuff right, and y'all going to get pushed out anyway. Because if your feet was really held to the fire to do this business correctly, the way it's supposed to be done, could you handle it? Could you really handle doing this business the correct way? Not the Facebook group way of doing things, but the correct legal way. And if you can't handle doing it the correct legal way, trust me, them new notaries will just slide right on in once you fall out, because you're going to be like, you know what, I can't do this. Because if it's not in you, let me put it to you this way, and I've said this before. A lot of people are currently notaries because when they apply to be a notary in their state, they didn't have a felony or any kind of alerts or anything on their record. So the state had no choice but to approve you because you didn't have anything bad on your record that they could disapprove you for. You know that's right, LaShawn, because you was real close at that time. You applied just before. You applied just in time. So
you're right. I'm not. Look, you right. I ain't here to argue with you. You right. You absolutely right.
So some people, y'all know. So if you was already a shyster, if in your W-2 you already cutting corners and doing stuff and all of that, what makes you think that you're going to all of a sudden, after spending 15, 20 years in the W-2 environment, that you're going to just turn around and start being the consummate business professional? That, I became a notary and I got a stamp and 2 printers, and guess what? I'm going to do this here professionally. You haven't been doing stuff professionally. It takes time. So now you're talking about you want to make $5,000 and $10,000 and $15,000 a month. There's some discipline that you got to have, and there's some things that you got to have in place that you do not have and that you've never done. If you want being studious with your money before you became a business owner, and you haven't done anything or learned anything to become a studious business owner, and you're resistant to doing things right in your W-2, how in the world do you legitimately think that you're going to come into this business and do right? And the percentage of people who could flip the switch and do correctly in the business after acting up as a W-2 is very small. And more than likely, as I always say, when enough pressure gets applied, people will respond. You might be in a very pressure situation. Old dude might be acting up, and you might be like, you know what? He might be rolling on me. Old girl might be acting up. She might be rolling on you. And you're like, you know what? Let me focus and get my act together and do what's right. But if that necessary pressure isn't on you, some of you not going to do what's right. You're going to constantly look for ways to skate, to just try to find a way to get around doing things correctly. And you're going to wind up. And that, in my opinion, is what makes it bad for us, because when you constantly do stuff incorrect, constantly doing stuff wrong, what ends up happening? The title company, the signing company, the lenders are the ones who suffer for your bad behavior. And then guess what? All the other notaries. So you have a teacher, LaShawn, you got kids. If you got a teacher in there that's cutting the food,
I got kid. I have kid. Look, we got one kid. You said kids. We got one kid.
My bad. All right.
One kid.
So you got that one kid, and if you have a teacher in there that's not acting right, that teacher can make things bad for all the other third grade teachers. Because if that teacher ain't doing right with your kid or your kid's class, they could come down with some regulations or some restrictions that could affect all the other good teachers. The other two teachers, like, we doing, and then it's like, well, no, we're gonna make a sweeping change across the board. And that's what I believe that's going to happen, or is happening with the notaries, is that because notaries, it's not about the dollar amount of what you're taking. It's about when you do get an order, whether the dollar amount is what you want or not, are you doing the stuff correctly? If you're not doing the stuff correctly, if you're sitting up here playing around, not doing things right, I don't understand how anybody can say it's new notaries that's causing it, and stop saying that.
No, it's the older ones. It's the older ones.
It's the older
too.
ones, right?
To be honest.
And then people keep bringing up AMROC. What you need to understand about AMROC does hybrid signings. They're not doing full on 150, 200 page signings. That's what I've been told consistently. So if they're doing modified signings, of course you cannot get 125, 150 for a 50-page signing, if that's, and all of that. So yes, the average fee may be lower in your area. So AMROC, in my opinion, is not a good example of this is why fees are lower, because there's orders that I've gotten this week from people who do have wealth management clients, and they paid $175 a head. A pop for each order. So I'm like, no, it's bad acting notaries is what makes it difficult. It's that simple. It's that simple. So stop making excuses and throwing it on the new notary, because there's no way you're going to stop new notaries from coming in. The only way you can stop new notaries from coming in is if you stop the states from commissioning them. Because you don't
agree. I don't think it's the new notaries though. It's not them. It's just like, I know someone that has been doing this 15, 20 years, right? They had no idea that they should have a separate bank account. They was just following the money. I don't know what they was doing, but they wasn't doing what we know now. Like, to be honest, like they had no idea how to charge, how to separate the fees. All this information about business credit, they didn't know. They don't even have a business bank account. So I don't think we could blame new notaries. I think we could blame people who choose to withhold information from people and not really steer people in the right way. And it's like a lot of scolding going on. But, I think really I want people to really understand is that the biggest thing is this is a business, and, you have to think about the future. Now, I hope everyone on here does not want to be, no offense, Griff, I hope none of us want to be, 50, 60 years old, outside in the car doing loan signing appointments. I feel like, we should be dreaming bigger. We should have big goals. Maybe some people's goals are a signing company. Maybe you're using this notary business as a way to establish yourself in business, to to build your business or something, you know. But I believe that, you know, plan for the future, and especially like when picking these accounts and LLCs and things like that, like you really want to pick something that's going to grow with you in the future. And the only reason I say that is because, let's say, for example, if I would have, well, actually, I don't have an online bank, but let's say if I do have an online bank, a lot of them, like, for example, you know, I have the YouTube channel and they pay me. That YouTube channel only was going to deposit money into my business account. When I tried to use it on my other like account that doesn't have my business name on it, it wouldn't allow it. It told me I had to get another account. So I ended up having to use the other account for the one with my business name so that I can get checks. And with that account, I can grow with that business. I don't have to worry about fees. I don't have to worry about anything of that nature. So I believe that the minute that you can set yourself up to be a business, I say set yourself up to be the business, to be honest with you. Like, I believe in set your business up. So that way, one, your business already established. So once we got the business established, you can add on different services to your business. And then two, it'll show you that you've been in business long enough. Like, to me, I feel like I'm proud that I have an LLC. You know, I'm proud that I can walk in somewhere and they be like, oh, I need to see your formation. I need to see your information. It's on my phone. What's your email? I can send it right to you. I can send to you right now. So that's why I say, you know, set your business up first. Set up that business formation. Don't listen to what other people got going on. You know, what they say don't do. I say, if you are a person who really wants to get into entrepreneurship and you don't want to be working for somebody, this right here is the bridge. And this was the first year, Griff, I had no W-2 to file. I'm self-employed 100%. So, and I say that is because, you know, I have a business formation. Now, just imagine if I had no business formation or nothing or anything, I just would have been like, I ain't make no money this year because, you know, I got to pay taxes on that. And I still got to pay taxes either way, but it's different when you don't report yourself as a business and you're just collecting money, you know, like under the table money, what people call it. You know, but this was the first year that I didn't have a single W-2 to submit, not even one.
That
and
is
tax
excellent.
time, it was a little different this year for me. It was cool. It wasn't fun though, like normally.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I want to touch on, and Jeannie, your device isn't connecting for me to bring you in. So I'm gonna put you out and then try to get back in. But here's one of the things, and I think, LaShawn, I know you're going to have something to say about this.
Me?
Yeah. A lot of people are talking about starting signing companies.
Oh.
Okay.
I'm all for it.
Yeah, I'm for it. Here's the thing. But here's my thing. There are people who talking about doing signing companies, but all they talk about is being direct. That's where the money is at. So for me, in my mind, I'm like, okay, you're saying the only way to make money in this business is being direct, because signing companies typically pay you less and don't pay you your worth. So I'm like, how do you start a signing company if you're saying that signing companies are trash and you're going to start a signing company? And are you going to pay the people what they're worth? How do you go direct and you're saying I'm making $200-300 a signing, and now I'm gonna start a signing company, but I'm only pay people $90? To me, that doesn't make sense that you're going to do that. Or one of the things that I learned is that you don't attract what you want, you attract who you are. So if you are a notary who is a shyster, who's been doing all this creepy stuff, who can't do stuff correctly for the signing companies that you work for, what makes you think you're going to attract somebody who does things better than you? And if you do, if you have a signing company and you attract somebody who's a better notary than you, they ain't gonna put up with your foolishness and the way you run your signing company. If you can't run your notary business correctly and ethically and morally, what makes you think you're going to now run a signing company where you're dealing with hundreds of notaries, thousands of notaries across the nation, along with these title companies. Nah, you're not going. There's no way to me, in my opinion, that you can legitimately be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna start a signing company because, really because you just don't feel like doing the work out there. And
I agree.
And I'm like, okay, fine. But now you're messing with people's lives. You're really messing with people's lives. And you really got to have your stuff together as a leader, as a business owner, to sit here and start a signing company where people are depending on you to send them money. Now, in my opinion, and maybe I'm wrong with this thought process, but if you're saying the best way to be is go direct, then how about you start a title company or a settlement company so that they can work directly with you and take out the middleman of the signing company? Because if being direct is where it's at, then set yourself up to be direct, to be a company that they can go direct with. And then you set up a title company or escrow company or whatever the case may be, so that you can pay them $125, $150 or more per signing because they're working directly with you and not through a signing company. So what's your thoughts, lady?
See, my thoughts is, I'm all for people starting a signing company. But I believe that, there's certain things that I feel like people don't tend to think about before, when they start things. And I just think you have to think about, are you really willing to take on that risk? And then not even risk, you need a team of people behind you, rather if it's someone that or a virtual assistant, if you have a huge family, if you got a family of 10, put your family to work, in those situations. But I feel like you really need to make sure you establish a team, a system on how you have to have someone who actually recruit more people for you. So that way you can make sure there's always going to be clients that you have to send out jobs to notaries. You have to have a way where you can find quality notaries, make sure the notaries are trained and they're not going to do wrong by your clients. The biggest thing is just making sure that you can really take on that responsibility. And I feel like for anyone on here who is thinking about starting a signing company, the biggest thing is making sure that you can actually take on the responsibility. And do you want to take on the responsibility? Because with anything in business that you do, unless you have tons of money just sitting around, really in reality, where you could pay other people to do all the work for you. But I want to tell you now, even having all the money to pay people to do the work for you, you still have to have an idea what to do. So that way you could tell them how you want it done.
Mm-hmm.
To be honest. So I always look at, can you really take on that responsibility? Even when I was just answering my phone and passing on jobs to notaries, that was stressful, finding a notary who is actually available for the client at that time, who could travel to them and stuff like that. So I think that, before we start doing signing companies, if you're going to do one, I'm all for it. But definitely I'd say, take your time with it and figure out everything that you need. And if that's something that you really want to do, because I know me personally, I don't want something else that I have to babysit. Right? Because you may hire
Look,
I seen that live, Griff. I seen that. Yeah. I know.
Let me put it to y'all this way, because a lot of people keep asking me to start a signing company. I'm gonna let y'all know something. If I start a signing company and you don't do what you're supposed to do, I will be showing up at your door. I mean, if you're going to sit up here and try to hold the documents hostage after I made it very clear that you need to drop them for same day delivery, next day delivery, or you're supposed to scan back and you sitting here talking about, I need another $100. Okay, you ain't got to worry about scan back. I'll go to your house, get the documents, and deal with them myself, and you won't get no work. Now I ain't gonna mess with you. I'm just joking.
See, those people don't need to do no signings, because at the end of the day, I don't understand why you're doing that, because I feel like, besides, I feel like everyone here does want to make money. I get that, but you're affecting the borrower. You mess with the signing company too, but the person who really is hurting in the end is the person who signed the documents. Like that
Right.
is the person who is going to suffer the most. So I feel like, how dare you hold the documents because someone didn't pay you extra money? You know, that's not right. You know, and I get, you know, there's signing companies that do pay 90 days. Like, to be honest, if a company pay that long and that's not something I want, you don't gotta work with them. Like, there's so many signing companies. Like, I'm just gonna be honest with you. There's so many signing companies. Like, there's no need to be stressing about one. Like, there's no need. If you do good work and you set up your business correctly and you make sure you're building relationships with the companies, like, I promise you is not gonna worry about one signing company that takes 90 days to pay you. Like, you'd be like, you'll take a job because you bored if you want, but but that's crazy that people are holding documents. I think I read about someone doing that, but I just thought it was strange. I just was like, why?
Yeah,
I
because I actually have talked to some title companies, and I've asked them, you know, like if they call me to confirm an order or something like that. Now, I'm not seeking out just calling title companies randomly. If I do an order and they call me and they have a question or want to just pass some information on to me, and especially when I know they normally don't, I'm like, wait a minute, okay, is everything all right? And then I ask her, I say, you must be having a problem with them new notaries. And then they'll pause and they'll be like, yeah. And I said, what, they're not shipping the documents out on time? No, they're not. And I said, and I bet you they holding your documents hostage for money for scan backs. And they're like, yeah, that's the biggest issue right there. And then in like one title company told me, just said, I don't understand how these new notaries who haven't done any work will call me and say, make me a preferred notary. They're just calling me out of the blue, telling me I want to be a preferred notary. Put me on your preferred notary list. And
who's
this
training
company,
that? Somebody telling somebody to say that. I don't.
Yeah.
Who's training that?
And,
you know what? I ain't get into it.
And she told me, and I was talking with her, and she said, one of the things that company pays $125 a pop. And they're like, well, I want more. They're calling in saying they'll say I'm available for the order. They'll get assigned the order for $125 and then call the company saying, well, can you pay me more? And they're the actual title company. The title company is operating as a signing company. They're getting their own people. They're just using the platform to get notaries. And they're like, $125 is what we pay. Well, I want more. And she's like, how are you going to demand more? You haven't even done a closing with us. This is your first one. And you're calling me saying you need to be preferred and you need to get paid more. That
We don't
make
even
no
know
sense.
your work ethic. We don't even know your work ethic. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. But you know, it just goes back to, that's why I don't do like Facebook groups too much. I don't do those because a lot of times there is people in there who are like telling people things that is really not the best advice, you know. To be honest with you, like I don't, that's so crazy that someone will hold documents because of a scan back fee. You know, I just feel like, you know, if it's really that serious, you know, I just feel like, you know what, don't scan it, send it over, and then shoot, this just dead your relationship with the company. Like, this call today is more than anything, you know. I don't, because the thing is, you're not it's not about the signing company. You're literally affecting the customer. Like,
Correct.
that's who you're messing with. So I don't understand why would they do that. You know, maybe people don't understand the process on how it works. You know, maybe it just need to be some more education on the process or something, you know, how the loan closing process work and why it's so critical for us to make sure that we are filling these documents out correctly, why they do need to be scanned in, why they need to be sent on time. How you doing, Jenny? Are filling these documents out correctly. You know, I think that's
well, and I did. That's what those two interviews that I did. That's what it was. That's what it was about, helping people understand the process. So I did one with Lavette, and then I forgot the other lady's name. She gonna kill me. But
we can go.
Man, but that's what those were about, to help them, because Lavette, she's a real estate agent, and oh my God, and I got her name right in my face. Mirtha. That's I remember her last name, but she's an underwriter, so she understands the whole process, and that's what me and her discussed and went over to help notaries understand how what they do affects other people in this process and everything. So Jenny, go for it.
She's muted.
Let me unmute her. Okay, so she muted herself. I can't unmute her. But Priscilla.
Now, there's one thing I do that I used to do. I'll be honest. I was strict about them documents.
Mm-hmm.
I was very strict about when them documents needed to be here.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I wouldn't even take an assignment. Like that would be things that would be discussed prior to me taking this assignment. Like that's what I would do. Like that's one thing I was strict about them documents because one, we here in Texas, and like if you send me something at 3:00 and I'm supposed to be there at 3:30, I'm not going to be there at 3:30. There's no way.
Right.
I'm even going to try. But I never, like, one thing I really used to do, I used to just tell them, you know, right then and there, like, you know, before I take the assignment, I would tell them on the phone, like, hey, I do need the documents to be sent as soon as possible that morning of, so that way I can be on time and stuff. So that's like one thing I would definitely always do ahead of time. But if it was late, you know, that was just on them. I wouldn't even stress myself about it, to be honest. I just want to stress, but I would disclose to them, like, you know, them documents need to be here. Like, I'm not, like, we're not going to do this last minute thing going on. And as long as they agree to that, normally when I said something, they would normally have the documents that morning, or they was working it. You know, it wasn't this whole, like, everybody chilling, no documents. Like, everybody, they was getting them documents because of what I had said. So that's one thing I do. Jeannie, she on now?
Yeah, Jenny, if you there, hop on. Just unmute yourself and go for it.
Hey, I'm just jumping in. I just saw you guys on YouTube, and so I'm just trying to catch up with the conversation, see what's going on, and all that kind of stuff. I'm kind of late in the game, so.
So, do you have any questions, concerns? Any questions about something that you might need help with?
You guys were talking about the banking. I've been hearing a lot of stuff about Navy Federal, about the business banking and stuff, and a lot of people getting turned away. I know I tried to open up a business account with them before, and it's a lot of paperwork. And it's hard to get a business account with Navy Federal. I know that much.
Yeah, it can be. They do have a lot more requirements. There's some documentation that they ask you to provide. But if you can get in, it is the bank itself and all of that is good. You just have to get in there, and and I forget the name of it, but it's this one page that is really not required, but Navy Federal requires it. And it's like a breakdown of how your business is structured and all of that. But if you do what they ask and you'll be able to get in. The main thing is you cannot have issues within your account with them, even on the personal side. So like I had the bankruptcy. They wouldn't let me open up a new account, even though the bankruptcy was discharged. They was like, nah, because you had it with us. We ain't touching you. So that's where, like LaShawn and I were saying, you need to find you a local bank, find you some other bank to go to. So I wound up going to a bank here, and it's now called Atlantic Union. It's been name changed a couple of times, but you know, I haven't had any problem with them. And with the small bank, you build up good relationships and can talk to them and all of that kind of stuff. So I haven't had any problem with them at all. You mean my left eye go?
It's midnight over there. I forgot that I'm an hour behind you. I'm up. I'm wide awake.
I'm good. Look, if I have to, look. Y'all see what I got here? I got that Gorilla Glue.
No, sir.
I got that. If I have to, Come on now, me and Gorilla
Oh
Glue Girl.
look, you don't need homegirl coming for you because she's suing anybody. She's suing everybody who think they are gonna steal her idea.
Mm-hmm. I'm serious, but yeah, I just wanted to hop on tonight, y'all, and thanks, Jenny, for your question. You know, I just wanted to hop on just to try to answer some questions. I'm looking to do it again tomorrow night. So if you got any other questions, feel free to ask. And that's why I wanted, well, tomorrow I have a better internet. I don't know what's going on with because when I did the thing the other day with you, I was sitting in the same spot when y'all did the Father's Day one and had no problem. So I don't know what's going on. But my internet will be better tomorrow and everything. But
it might be StreamYard too. It might. Did you are you streaming 720 or you're streaming 10 or are you streaming at 1080?
I might be doing 1080.
Yeah, so sometime at 1080, what I realized my bad guys, who's having a conversation, but what I did was I'm not sure if you're operating off of Wi-Fi, but I changed I hardwire. If I'm doing 1080p, I just hardwire it.
That's what it is. It's a 1080p because I was doing something the other day and I was when I did the interview with the young lady the other day, I had it on 1080p and I just recorded. I wasn't broadcasting it and it came out fine, but I forgot to switch it back. And yeah, that's probably what it is because I got it set up in 1080p. No big deal. Main thing was get the information out there. So do anybody else have any questions or anything that
I think you should say I've seen the fidelity question come up quite a few times. How people can get fidelity approved. And maybe we can just answer that tomorrow because that's like a whole that's just gonna be a long conversation, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it's midnight over there.
Mm-hmm.
For you. So what time tomorrow you might be here? What's tomorrow? Thursday tomorrow?
Yeah, tomorrow Wednesday.
Oh, I might be on here. If you need some help, you can ping me
I
and
I
can help you out.
All right. And if I can, I may go over some document stuff tomorrow and all of that.
Documents?
Yeah, because I wanted to talk about that new loan application and everything, and all of that, and just answer some other questions and stuff. So I just plan it by ear. It's based off of y'all folks. So I will be on here as long as I need to be and answer whatever questions I can. And just, to help y'all out. And if y'all know people who are new notaries or interested in becoming a notary, they can hop on here and ask questions about maybe, the process or whatever they need to know for us getting started, but I'm just trying to help. I mean, that's why I love working with LaShawn, and even Samantha. I was hoping we could have got Samantha on here.
Samantha's asleep. This is way past her bedtime.
Oh, Samantha, that's right.
Samantha is sleeping. She's not even answering my call. She is asleep.
Okay. Gotcha. She's asleep. Well, I'm a night owl anyway, so I haven't even eaten dinner. I'm about to eat something, make me some grits and fix me some sausage before I go to bed. And that's what keeps you cheeks back.
Oh, no, I gotta eat. I had ordered today Taco Tuesday.
Oh, okay.
I gotta eat my tacos that I had ordered, but I'm glad I was able to help. I could probably actually put up some of the questions in my inbox that people ask a lot because I don't really answer the social media posts. Well, the social media inboxes no more. I just had started doing the calls because it's a lot to answer the questions, and some of the questions, I have to give explanations for, so that way I can help you, help people, rather where they need to start at. So there's like a lot of questions that I receive in my inbox that I could probably we could bring on to help people. But I think someone was actually answered tonight. Talk about Chase Bank. Yeah, but see, me personally, I feel like you just need. I'm big on teaching people just factors about things. I feel like Chase Bank may work for me, but it may not work for you. You know,
Right.
So I believe in just looking for certain things and how they take care of business owners and what do they provide for business owners. That's what I look at when choosing banks or whatever it is. That's what I actually look for. But yeah, we got to go to bed, everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yes, indeed.
Yes, indeed.
Oh yeah. Oh no. Actually, I have a training coming up in Houston. I'm going to Houston September 19th. It's going to be at the MJ Training Center. Never been there, but that's where I'm doing. That's where my training is next. Well, no, that's not my next training. My next training is actually going to be in Florida. Now, I don't mind coming to Dallas. It's just that, if someone knows a good location, and if, let's say, you can get a group of like 10 of y'all ready to pay, I'll come out there. I'll come out to Dallas. If you have a location where I can go and a group of 10 people at least, I'll come. I'll come to Dallas. I love Dallas. Matter of fact, that's my favorite place. So I will come there to Dallas. It's not a problem. But that's all I have. That's all I have.
All right.
I can't put my links in here because it's not going to let me.
Oh, okay.
Or I can private chat to you. I think you can put it in, but I can't.
Okay. All right, party people. Y'all have a good one. Thanks again for joining. And I'll see y'all tomorrow. Probably wind up being probably about the same time again, about 9 p.m. Eastern time. Because I'm pretty sure something's gonna come up and I'm gonna be busy doing some things. So let's just plan for about 9 p.m. tomorrow night. Might be 8, but at least 9 p.m. tomorrow night. And do what we can to help y'all out. All right. Well, y'all have
let's get the link created, Griff, so I can share it to everybody so everybody can just come at once.
Okay, I'll create that and then I'll send it to you.
All right, take your time though, get some rest.
Yes, ma'am.
All righty. Bye,
All right.
everyone. Good night.